AFC Central Division champion Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Houston Oilers, and the Steelers will find out in a hurry just how good they are without two of their star players. Mike Tomczak gets the start for Neil O'Donnell, out with a broken finger, and also missing perhaps the premier cornerback in the league, Rod Woodson, out with a season-ending knee injury last week. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Hickson. Who better to measure the impact of the Steelers' injuries than the former All-Pro on the offensive line for the Steelers for 13 years, Tunch Ilkin? We know they are hurting physically. What about emotionally?
You know what, Dan? From the moment the Steelers won last week's game and they came off the field, head coach Bill Cowher has been telling his players and telling the media, hey, we have to overcome this. This is life in the NFL. The good teams can. Now, what does this mean to the Steelers? Well, number one, Deon Figures takes Rod's place. Deon is rehabbing an off-season knee injury that was caused by a shooting. NFL, I think good teams players really buy into this, but they do feel when you lose a guy like that, it's a big part of this ball club.
As for the Houston Oilers, this is the first scheduled game here at the Astrodome, of course, since the famous cancellation in the third preseason game. Officials deeming this playing surface not good enough, and really, Tunch, it was not even until yesterday morning that the NFL officials gave the go-ahead for this game today.
Well, apparently they replaced the wooden planks that support the turf with steel ones. The NFL brought in field guru George Toma to check it out. He walked the field, said it was okay. I myself walked the field before the players got here. Never been a fan of this turf down here at Houston, and I'll tell you what, they have upgraded the field. It's gone from unplayable to just plain lousy.
All right, Tunch, thank you for your thoughts. Bill Cowher, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh native led the team to the best record in the AFC. Last year at 12-4, the Steelers with a last-second field goal, dramatic win over the Detroit Lions last week to open up the season at 1-0. Jeff Fisher also 1-0. The Houston Oilers got what Jeff Fisher called an ugly win in their opener in Jacksonville last week before 72,000 fans. Not near as many for this one, and the home opener for Houston. The Oilers have won the toss and back deep. The most prolific return man in NFL history, Mel Gray, but it'll be Rodney Thomas who will handle the Norm Johnson kickoff. And Chris Chandler, the quarterback. It was really iffy whether he would play this week after suffering the bruised shoulder last week, but he gets the start. Up front, Hopkins, Matthews, the ageless wonder in his 13th year. Mark Stepnoski comes over as a free agent from the Dallas Cowboys. He joins Hopkins, Donnelly, and Williams. Gary Brown over 100 yards last week. His 6th career 100-yard game. Jeffries and Derek Russell, the wideouts. The tight end is Frank Wycheck. Todd McNair and Chris Sanders come in the offensive set for Houston. First down and 10 from the 25, and it's Gary Brown getting the carry. Not much room at all for Brown. Chad Brown makes the stop for Pittsburgh's defense, and let's set that up for you. It'll be Buckner, Steed, and Seals up front. A great linebacking core. Kevin Green has 99 sacks, one career sack away from the magic century mark. And the real big news in the secondary, Deon Figures, as Tunch indicated, gets the start at corner for Woodson. Alvoid Mays, a veteran Redskin, at the other corner. Williams and Bell come in the dime package for Pittsburgh. Second down and 11 for Houston. And Chandler to the air in the vicinity of Haywood. Jeffries incomplete. And right away, Houston in the hole at 3rd down and 11.
Well, immediately the Steelers are blitzed too on the very second play of the game. Chad Brown rushes that guard center gap, picked up nicely by David Williams. But one of the things that Chandler was saying yesterday is we cannot get into 3rd and long situations with these guys. They run so many blitzes at you, especially off the nickel, that we have to be sound on 1st down. We've got to win on 1st and 2nd down.
The left shoulder bruise to Chandler last week. Played the first half but had to sit out the entire second half. And on 3rd down and 11, Oilers in a throwing down. Chandler across the middle and just incomplete. It was intended for Derek Russell, and he was step for step with him. Carnell Lake of the Steelers.
Russell just going down the seam, and Lake with him step for step, just over his fingertips. Good protection on that time, too.
So the Oilers in punt formation, and there is number 88, Andre Hastings. And Rod Woodson, such a big part of the secondary for Pittsburgh. He's also the punt return man, but with his absence, Hastings in his 3rd year out of Georgia in set to receive the Rich Camarillo punt. Hastings drifting back to the 27-yard line, has some room up the near sideline, dancing his way across midfield, beats an Oiler, and it's now a foot race. Andre Hastings will score. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. 72 yards. Not a bad fill-in for Woodson. Tunch?
Well, Andre, nothing could be better for your confidence than your first punt return in a game is to break it for a touchdown. Andre takes the ball, stumbles a little bit. The wall is set up to his left, and he just goes down the sideline. There doesn't seem to be a lot of room, and then he just turns on the Jets, has one man to beat, Camarillo. Great move, and he is gone.
In his 3rd year out of Georgia, Hastings with a quick strike for Pittsburgh. And now Norm Johnson, who kicked the game-winning field goal last week for the Steelers' win over the Lions, in to attempt the point after. And just like that, it is 7-0 Pittsburgh. 13:49 left in the first. The big strike by Hastings. 7-0 Steelers. Welcome back to the Astrodome. Pittsburgh up 7-0. We've played all of a minute and 11 seconds. And Andre Hastings streaks 72 yards after Houston punts on its very first series of the ball game. 72 yards for the touchdown for Hastings, who came out early after his junior year of Georgia 3 years ago, and comes up with a big shocker to Houston. First time that the Steelers have returned a punt for a touchdown since Rod Woodson did it in October of '92. So Norm Johnson to kick off, and this time Mel Gray will get a chance from the 9. Slips one tackler, gets short of the 20. They'll mark him out at about the 18, and that's where they'll begin. Myron Bell makes the tackle for the Steelers, and there is Chris Chandler, who will come out again after going 3 and out on the previous first series. In his 8th year out of Washington, and Touch, we were talking before the game, he has been around a lot already. His 5th team in just 8 years in the league. The Colts, Tampa, the Cards, the Rams in '94. He's been around.
Well, you know, he's got a nice collection of helmets, Dan.
And there's a nice collection of hair being modeled by Kevin Green. 1 sack away from the 100 mark. 1st and 10 for Houston from the 18, and keep it on the ground to Brown, trying to pick a hole across the 20. He's up to the 23-yard line for a gain of 5, brought down by Brinson Buckner. And Touch, very difficult, at least based on the '94 numbers, of coming back on the Steelers defense. Look at all the #1 AFC rankings.
Well, you know what, Danny? The strength of this defense is its pressure. They can bring so many different blitzes at you that if you get behind and you have to throw on every play, it can be very dangerous for your quarterback.
2nd down and 5 for the 24. Gary Brown gets the carry again, brought down by Kevin Green. And Brown, mentioned him over the 100-yard mark last week, his 6th career 100-yard game, but his first in almost 2 years.
Well, you know, it's interesting. They're so excited about the addition of Jerry Rome as their offensive coordinator. The run and shoot is dead and buried, and that's what Jeff Fisher kept stressing to us yesterday. Now they've opened up in a 2 tight end set with an H-back, and what they want to do is play like the Steelers, pound the ball down their throats.
And there is Jerry Rome. Third and short. Chandler drops back, going down the far side, looking for Haywood Jeffries, incomplete. Alvoid Mays, who has spent the last 5 years with the Redskins, involved in the coverage on Jeffries.
Nicely thrown ball again. It just, you know, I know this really bugs Haywood because he's saying, you know, he doesn't get a lot of balls anymore since the new offense. It may be 13, 14 plays in a row where they run the ball. One thing he stressed to us yesterday is, boy, you've got to make your opportunities. You've got to make the best out of your opportunities in this offense because you might not get another ball thrown to you in the second quarter.
Well, Andre Hastings made the best of his opportunity the last time he touched the ball. On the previous punt return, raised 72 yards. A flag will come in and stop play around the line of scrimmage, and the referee today, Bob McElwee. We'll hear from him for the first time.
False start, number 51, offense, 5 yards, 4th down.
You know what happens a lot in that situation is the guys on the line, they're not going by a cadence. The punter does not call a cadence. Everybody's looking in at the ball. Well, if you got a guy across from you, in that time, Dante Jones of the Steelers was jumping in at the offensive line, you're bound to flinch sometimes.
So Hastings will step up 5 yards and begin from the 25 is where he's set up to receive the punt from Rich Camarillo in his 15th year. This one hovering just across midfield, and Hastings will watch this roll out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That's where the Steelers will begin when we come back. Hastings has the Steelers up 7-0. This is the NFL on NBC. Tunch Ilkin at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Steelers ready for their first offensive series, and there's Mike Tomczak filling in once again for Neil O'Donnell. No stranger to the NFL. His 50th NFL start as the Steelers begin at the 39, and he'll begin with Bam Morris, who is bammed right at the line of scrimmage by the rookie Anthony Cook. As we set the offense for you for Pittsburgh up front, anchored by the great Dermontti Dawson. 3 straight Pro Bowls for the center. And in the backfield, Bam Morris in his second year out of Texas Tech. Thigpen and Johnson, the wide receivers. Jonathan Hayes gets the start at tight end. Ernie Mills and Johnny Barnes come in the empty set where the Steelers will use 5 wideouts and no running backs. We'll see that on 3rd down situations today as a flag comes in on 2nd and 10.
False start prior to the snap, number 72 offense, 5 yards, 2nd down.
Leon Searcy called for the penalty. As we check Houston's defense, we saw the good play previously by Anthony Cook. He's a rookie out of South Carolina State, made his NFL debut. It was impressive last week. He lines up alongside the veteran Ray Childress, the Pro Bowler. The linebackers Robinson, Smith, and Barrow. Dishman is the left corner veteran. Darrell Lewis at the other corner. He had an interception last week that sealed the win. As Tomczak pulls back on 2nd down and long, incomplete. That will bring up 3rd and long. It was intended for the tight end, Jonathan Hayes. Blaine Bishop, strong safety coverage for Houston.
Well, good protection to start off. One of the things the Steelers want to do is mix it up a little on 1st and 2nd down. Tomczak seemed to throw a little bit behind Jonathan Hayes, and it was a nice play. Bishop.
And there is Neil O'Donnell. Rod Woodson did not make the trip, but Neil O'Donnell is here. Surgery on his right throwing hand. The finger has 2 pins that have been inserted in touch. We talked with Neil on the sidelines before the game. He said, I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. That might be a little bit too soon, but we'll see as Tomczak comes back, and it sets it up for an interception right in the arms of Marcus Robertson. Charles Johnson, the intended receiver, or is it out of bounds? And there are still some Oilers gathered at the 45-yard line, but it is perhaps an injury to Robertson.
Turf injury.
Let's take another look to see what exactly happened.
Nice grab. See, now there's the danger of artificial turf.
The heel seemed to slip in.
That comes down. Now, definitely out of. I think that's a good call, but more importantly, look at the grabbing of his left ankle. I don't know if that's where the pain is, but he rolled right over it because of the grabbiness of the turf.
It would be unbelievable to see another serious injury on the turf, but we'll check in with Marcus Robertson. When we come back, Steelers with the lead. To the Astrodome, that is the football, which has just been blocked. Ron Stark had it blocked by Todd McNair. So the Houston Oilers will have excellent field position. By the way, Marcus Robertson was not given an interception on the previous play, so the Steelers had lined up in punt formation. And now let's take a look at the block on Ron Stark.
Todd McNair is to the right of your screen there. Nobody blocks him, and he just lays out perfect timing, and he got the block. I know now Bobby April's talking to the guys on the sideline. Who's responsible? Somebody's got, you can't have a guy coming off the end untouched. You just can't do that.
So Houston begins 1st and 10 from the 40. They trail at 7-0, and a swing pass out to Brown. And Brown lucky if he's able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Now the Oilers have to take advantage of this situation right here. They got a big break, a block punt. You know, first they were kind of down because they thought they had the pick, and they got it taken away from them. Then you got McNair blocks a punt. This is a great field position to start with. They have to take advantage of turnovers and big plays.
10-17 left in this first quarter. Loss of maybe a yard for Brown. Rodney Thomas, the rookie out of Texas A&M, is the lone setback in this first quarter. Loss. And early movement on the line and more flags.
Encroachment, number 93 defense, prior to the snap.
And that was Joel Steed, the
5
nose
yards,
tackle,
second down.
moving in on Stepnoski early.
Well, Chandler went into a long count on that one, and Joel just could not hold his water.
So Houston will move up 5 yards, 2nd down and 5, close to the 45. A long count by Chandler. Gets the snap off with 2 seconds left on the play clock. Drills across the middle. It's complete to Derek Russell. Still on his feet. Inside the 30. 1st and 10 for Houston.
Nice throw. Great protection. That time Steelers brought both outside guys, Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd. Great protection by the Oilers, picking up the blitz. Right down the seam once again. Nice catch by Derek Russell. Carnell's got to lock him up there. Nice tackle by Perry.
Russell in his 5th year out of Arkansas. Had a couple of catches last week, so his 3rd of the season, and the Oilers in business. Just inside the Steeler 30. Chandler has been sharp early as Gary Brown gets the call on the left side. Maybe 1 or 2 brought down by Ray Seals.
That's the offense we're talking about. These guys are coming off the ball, hat on hat, and they're letting Gary Brown find the hole. Starts off left. Where he sees the daylight, that's where he's going to cut it up.
Speaking of Gary Brown, I guess he's determined to have a better 95 than he had in 94. Dropped some weight, stayed in town in the offseason to make sure that he'd be in the best physical shape. Somewhat of a down year for him last year after emerging as a star. 2nd down and 7, ball at the 26. And here is Brown again, getting the majority of the carries. Brought down by Levon Kirkland along with Ray Seals for Pittsburgh.
Great penetration by Joel Steed. Shot the A gap between Stepnoski and Matthews. This guy is probably one of the most underrated guys on that defense. He makes a lot of things happen. He clogs up the field. Look at taking 2 guys on. Nice spin. Oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Actually, Ray Seals made that play. Yeah, nice play, Ray.
Ray Seals, as we look at Joel Steed, along with Arizona's Eric Swan, the current NFL players without any college experience. But he makes a big play there. Now 3rd and 6. Chandler fires over the middle and almost intercepted by Kevin Green. Haywood Jeffries, the intended receiver, but Green had a chance at the pick.
Now watch Greg Lloyd here, coming from his stack linebacker position in the middle in this nickel package. Goes in the A gap. Nice pickup. but that put a running back on big play Ray Seals, number 97.
And Kevin Green could smell the interception. Just comes up short, so Al Del Greco in field goal range for Houston. They spotted at the 33, so a 43-yard attempt for Del Greco, who was 1 for 1 last week from 19 yards and has hit his last 12 straight. And he's got 13 straight as he stretches the club mark that he broke last week. 13 straight for Del Greco, and Houston takes advantage of the block punt and is on the board. 7-3 in the first quarter from the Astrodome in Houston. As we remind you that coming up next Sunday, it's comedian Rondell Sheridan starring in a brand new comedy series, Minor Adjustments, on NBC's Must TV. That is Sunday, coming to NBC. And there is Marcus Robertson, who injured himself in the interception attempt, sprained right knee. His return is questionable for Houston. Meanwhile, Steelers back deep. Ernie Mills, the deep man for Pittsburgh, as Houston able to take advantage of the block punt, put a field goal on the board. They trailed at 7-3.
And it was real important, Dan. I mean, they needed 3 points there. They couldn't come off the field without any points to show for that turnover. And that's very important for a team. Once again, these guys are not sure about themselves. They don't know if they're going to be a good football team or not. Beating Jacksonville last week was not a huge test, so they have to come out and score points on turnovers.
I mentioned Al Del Greco nailing his 13th straight field goal to stretch the club record. He kicks off, and it's taken by Mills, and Mills immediately wrestled to the turf. Tomer Barnes of Houston on the stop. Let's send you to New York and join Greg Gumbel for an update.
All right, Dan, at Foxborough, Dan Marino starting to light it up. First down pass play, 67 yards to Irving Fryer, who outruns the defender. It's a 10-0 Miami lead on New England. Dan and Tunch, back to you in Houston.
All right, Greg. Thank you very much. Boy, Marino, year after year after year, as the Dolphins have the lead in that early one. Pittsburgh has the early lead here, 7-3, but they start from the 12. Tom Zach back to pass on first down. Did he get it? Yes. Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, is able to haul it in. Eddie Robinson on the coverage, but a pretty good snare by the former Chief. Well, now in his second year with Pittsburgh.
Well, that was a nice job by Jonathan. Good protection. Always starts the play off. Jonathan, not bad for an old guy, picking it off his socks tops. I'll tell you what, did you hear the crowd come to life before that play? That was the first time you would have known anybody was here today.
Jonathan Hayes having to be helped off the field. You're right, Tunch. It really resembled more of a morgue a little bit. It was that quiet, especially after the Hastings punt return, as Bam Morris gets the call up the middle. Glenn Montgomery and the rookie Anthony Cook combine to make the stop for the Oiler defense.
Well, it's just a quick dive play to Bam, following his left guard and left tackle, John Jackson, number 65, and number 66, Tom Newberry. I mean, that's Ron Earhart football. Smash mouth stuff. Get the first down. Keep those chains moving.
Rushing stats in his rookie season for Bam last year. Third-round draft pick out of Texas Tech. And really, the main man in Pittsburgh, of course, with Barry Foster departed. From the 22, and the handoff goes to Bam Morris. Morris across the 25, and he is tackled by Darrell Lewis and Anthony Cook.
Just a quick sprint draw to the left. Oilers were not fooled.
And there is a look at the architect of the Pittsburgh offense, offensive coordinator Ron Earhart. And Tunch, this was a Steeler team which was #1 in the league in rushing last year. Do you see it being the same type of offense or more of a mix?
Absolutely. And they're still going to want to rush the ball, but they're going to mix it up just to keep the defenses honest.
2nd and 7. Tomzak quickly pressured, but he's able to get it away to Mark Bruner, the tight end. And in talking with Bill Cowher this morning, he said you're going to be seeing a lot more of this rookie. He was the #1 draft pick of Pittsburgh out of the University of Washington, and he was the 2nd tight end drafted. So they're big on Bruner, who goes 6'4", 250.
You see right here, the Oilers jumped into their 46 defense. When they do that, the Steelers are going to try to audible to quick pass plays.
So 1st and 10 from the 35, and this is Bam Morris around the right side, and he'll get first down yardage and more, close to midfield before he's run out of bounds by Chris Dishman. So Bam Morris with the early spark.
Well, he's just following his fullback Steve Avery on an ISO play. Nice job on the right side by Leon Searcy and Justin Strelzik, 73 and 72. Justin Strelzik kicks out the corner. Avery picks up the linebacker Al Smith, and there goes Bam. And while we mentioned Steve Avery, it appears that he's taking John L. Williams' spot. John's got a bad wheel, nursing that sore left knee.
There is Steve Avery. And along the left side, this is Eric Pegram. And here's a guy that the Steelers are very excited about, hoping that he adds that quick spark to their offensive backfield. Pegram in his 5th year out of North Texas State, of course, his first 4 seasons with the Falcons.
Well, you know, he's a guy that brings something to this offense that they haven't had in a lot of years. He can take it coast to coast. He's a big play guy and a burner. When he gets out in the open, it's going to be tough to bring him down from behind.
46 yards on 6 carries. Rushing last week, also had a couple of receptions. Steelers lead at 7-3. Final moments ticking down in this first quarter. Tomczak back to pass on 2nd and short, lofting it up in the vicinity of Yancey Thigpen, and a flag has come down late. Darrell Lewis was on the coverage of Thigpen.
Defensive pass interference, number 29, first down.
And Lewis gets called on it, and he can't believe it.
Well, this is big for the Steelers. Ah, see, there it is. It's with the left arm. You know, you can shove off. I mean, they're allowed to jockey for position right there. But the one thing that you can't do when you're playing defensive back in the league, you cannot hold on to his arm and keep him from reaching out for the ball. And that's exactly what Lewis was doing.
Huge play for Pittsburgh. Thigpen knew it immediately, so they're set up at the 15. Quick drop by Tomczak, incomplete. And Tomczak looking for Thigpen again.
Great blitz pickup. You know, this Oilers defense, they play pressure football too. On that play, Al Smith was blitzing through the A gap, number 54. The A gap is the gap to the left of the center and guard. And Al Smith, who's blitzing on this one, comes in and does a great job by Bam Morris, number 33, picking up. If he doesn't set up there quick, boy, Mike Tomczak's going down hard.
2nd down and 10 from the 15.
Timeout, Pittsburgh. That's their first charge timeout.
Steelers will take their first timeout of this half. As you look at Bill Cowher, 33 and 19 record.
Well, we're in the red zone now, Danny. It's inside the 20-yard line scoring zone. What you're going to see a lot more from Houston now that we're this close is they're going to bring a lot of blitzes. Very important for the offensive line and the running backs of the Pittsburgh Steelers to be on the same page because they run a lot of different blitzes at you. If you don't have pickup, you're going to get your quarterback hurt. And everyone knows that Tomczak went down last week with a bad stick from Tracy Scroggins of Detroit. So it's very important. And look for a little quick pass in there, quick routes to get away from that blitz.
In fact, Tomczak, who's been around a long time himself in his 11th year, said that shot he took was the worst ever. And really, he had only been outfitted with a flak jacket for the first time before the season started. He said, I don't know what would have happened to me had I not had the flak jacket given to him by the Steeler equipment manager, Tony Parisi, who's a former minor league hockey player. So Tomczak was thankful for that.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm sure he's taking Tony out to dinner now because the Rydell from the helmet of Tracy Scroggins is imprinted in Tomczak's sternum.
But he came back to be effective for the Steelers last week. And here in Houston with Pittsburgh up 7-3, trying to add to that. As here comes Tomczak rolling right and waiting, and then in the end zone, wide open, is Mark Bruner for the touchdown.
Great call. Great call.
The first career touchdown for Mark Bruner. And it gives the Steelers a 13-3 lead.
Great call by Ron Earhart. Just a little pump run fake to the left. They've been running left with Bam, running left with Pegram. This time he fakes the handoff to Bam, number 33, and he rolls to his right, and the play was wide open. The whole Oiler defense got sucked in on the run play.
So Norm Johnson trying to make it 14-3. Johnson has the point after attempt, and the Steelers have notched their second touchdown. The first came at a 72-yard punt return by Hastings, and then the quick passing strike to a wide open Bruner. Touch.
Great job. Bruner, I know they're really high in this guy, the first-round pick from Washington. That he's got to be fired up, because I know he's a little concerned coming in as a young guy. Are they going to throw the ball to me, or are we just going to run the ball?
And then Tomczak, who rolled out and just let that play develop as the touchdown toss.
Well, it all started with the play fake. Tomczak is a crafty veteran quarterback, and really what made that play is the run fake to Bam sucked the whole defense in. And watch the Oiler linebackers and safety guys. Everybody comes up to stop Bam. Nobody's out here. Nobody has contained. It should be somebody, either the outside linebacker Barrows or the defensive end Cook. He's got a throwing lane there. Nobody in his face.
First career score for Bruner, and Tomczak has the Steelers out 14-3. He threw 3 interceptions last week in reserve role for Neil O'Donnell, but really all 3 of those balls were not poorly thrown. Touch.
Well, you know, I tell you what, it's a real testament to his resolve that he threw 3 picks and he still played well down the stretch and led him in the winning drive.
Johnson's kickoff, and awaiting is Mel Gray from the 16. Across the 20 to the 21. Return of 5 yards for Mel Gray, brought down by the Steelers' Fred McAfee. So, not a good year in '94 for the Houston Oilers. Look at the numbers. Least in the NFL. Touchdowns, points scored, yards average on a play. And then the most in the NFL, fumbles lost and sacks allowed. And already down in a hole, 14-3 is Chris Chandler. Gets things set from the 21. And a give to Gary Brown. They passed just 23 times last week, Touch, as they make this move away from the run and shoot.
Well, they want to run the ball. I mean, that's what they want to do. Jerry Rome says we want to play the same smash mouth football that the Steelers are playing. And, you know, they're starting to look like an NFC East team.
And Jerry Rome, last coaching the Vikings wide receiver last year, but 4 years as the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals. And he also tutored Chris Chandler while with the Cardinals. And Chandler, meantime, gets some pressure. And the ball is loose, but recovered by Kevin Donnelly. Chad Brown came in there and really put the pressure on Chandler, who is holding his hand.
Well, somebody's got to pick up Chad Brown. You can't have the inside backer. He is so close to the line of scrimmage, and so close to the ball. The guard or the running back, someone's got to pick. He comes in untouched. It looks like a break on the protection, because it looks like Donnelly should be looking inside. Instead, he was sliding to the right. Now, you got an injured quarterback with a bad wing. You cannot let him take shots like that.
So 3rd down and 13 for Chandler and the Oilers. 1:53 left. They trail at 14-3. Chandler back and just over the outstretched arms of Chris Sanders, the rookie out of Ohio State, and that'll bring up another punting down for Houston.
You know, Chandler's got to be a little gun shy right now. One of the things that he said they can't do, they've done all throughout the first quarter. They're getting the 3rd and long situations. The Steeler blitz, when they come, are affecting it. Guys, they've got their offensive line, running back, whoever's in charge, they have to pick up the blitzers, because you've got a quarterback with a bad wing, and he's not going to be able to finish the game if he keeps taking shots like that.
And he is wincing in pain on the sideline as Rich Camarillo is back to punt inside the 5. Andre Hastings, who already returned a touchdown, a punt for a touchdown of 72 yards, is back at the 35. And Hastings will let this bounce. It takes a good Steeler bounce and then an Oiler bounce. And Pittsburgh will have it 1st and 10 at the 42. There is Chris Chandler, originally a 3rd-round pick of the Colts back in '88, but told us that left shoulder really hurts when he goes down to take the snap and when he just puts it over his head. But it looks like he's shaking off another injury touch.
You know, he's taken a lot of shots. They say that he's been banged up a lot in his career, but let's face it, he's played behind some offensive lines in the past that have been somewhat subpar, so he has taken a lot of shots. The problem with the shoulder being the way that it is, that you cannot rotate it. You can't do like a supine position where you put your palm straight up to the air. And what he was saying is he can't turn the radio on in his car. He can't get a bottle of milk out of the refrigerator. He can hold his baby, but he can't reach for her.
Well, the injured, shaken-up player on the field is number 41, Lathon Flowers, the rookie out of Georgia Tech. He seems to be fine as he trots back to the Steelers sideline. So Pittsburgh with good field position again, just over the 49-yard line is where they'll begin with 1:37 left in the 1st quarter. And Mike Tomczak, fresh off the touchdown pass to Bruner. And this time he swings it out to Pegram, incomplete. Michael Barrow, the right linebacker, on the coverage of Pegram.
So you know what that touchdown, that last Steeler touchdown does for the Steeler offense is now the Oiler defense, they might just take a little bit off their aggressiveness. They got burned on a misdirection play, which takes advantage of very aggressive defenses. So now this is great for the Steelers because now maybe they're going to sit back just a little bit, and now the Steelers should be trying to run the ball a little bit more.
2nd down and 10, close to midfield for Pittsburgh. Thigpen in motion to the far side, and on the reverse, it gets stopped by Houston. That is Charles Johnson, who is met in a hurry by Barrow and Eddie Robinson. Didn't fool Houston at all.
No, they were having a meeting back there. I'll tell you what, that didn't fool anybody. Thigpen goes in motion, and he really needs to pick up Barrow, number 50 right there, and he's just there. So is number 56, or actually 50, Eddie Robinson and 56 Barrow combined. Neither one of them were fooled. Usually, ideally, you'd want that weak side guy chasing number 56 Barrow. The fact that he wasn't, he stayed at home, makes a big play.
Loss of 10. So 3rd down and 20. We're inside a minute in the 1st quarter. Tomczak with good protection just over the outstretched arms of Charles Johnson, incomplete. Darrell Lewis on the coverage. Lewis, of course, flagged for the interference on Yancey Thigpen. And now the Steelers in punt formation, and the crowd waking up just a little bit here in the Astrodome.
Geez, you think that it was a great defensive series for the Oilers, a couple of big plays. You'd think people in the Astrodome would get a little excited.
Well, there is Mel Gray. We mentioned the most prolific returner in NFL history. 6 kickoffs returned for touchdown, 3 punt returns for touchdown. Of course, spending the last 6 years with the Lions, and Houston excited about him, says he'll give their return game a whole new look. Good punt by Stark. And that drives Gray back to the 7, but he comes up across the 21, so a return of 14 for Gray. On the tackle for Pittsburgh was Steve Avery. Mel Gray in his 10th year out of Purdue. Last week figured into the receiving scheme of Houston, hauling in 1 catch for 19 yards.
Well, you know, Jeff Fisher told us, he said, you know, traditionally, or I should say last year, he was worried about the returners in this division, Terry Metcalf, Rod Woodson. So this year we went out and got Mel Gray. We need him to have a big year, and I want everybody else in our division worrying about our return teams.
Chandler keeps it on the ground to Brown. So obviously Chandler saw him wincing on the sideline a moment ago, but he's back in. Kevin Green make the stop.
Well, good penetration by Kevin Green. Just rams right down the line, number 91. And let's face it, this is a tough defense to run a ball on. And if you don't have something else in your arsenal as far as quick passes, some 3- and 5-step drops, something where you can pick up the blitzes.
The end of the first quarter in Houston. Pittsburgh leads it 14-3. You're watching the NFL on NBC. Jeff Fisher in his first full season for the Houston Oilers, of course, taking over for the departed Jack Pardee. 1-5 last year, and did offer the real thrashing to the New York Jets in the final game to pick up the first win. But Jeff Fisher putting his own stamp on this Houston organization, brought in a lot of new coaches, which we'll get into in a second here. But to begin the second quarter, Houston from the 22, second down and 10. And Chandler swings it out to Gary Brown. Not much there, maybe a yard. Kevin Green very active on the stop. And again, Chandler is working that left arm that he took a shot on a few plays ago.
Just a quick flare pass to Gary Brown, and this is the kind of stuff they have to do, but they're going to have to get a look at it. Oh, but check it out right there. Chad Brown, number 94, blitzing from his inside linebacker spot again. They're having trouble picking that blitz up. He hits Chandler, and Chandler's wincing.
That arm very tender after the shot. It wasn't a huge shot by Brown, but and again from behind. Chad Brown in Chandler's backside in about a second.
Well, that was a great pass rush by Chad Brown. He's working on Brad Hopkins, the left tackle, number 72. Number 94, Chad Brown, just gets the corner on. Great upfield rush. Chad is a very elusive guy. He has great flexibility in his hips. He can duck under guys. That's exactly what he does. Gets that left-hand rip, gets the backside, and I'm telling you what, they're letting Chandler take too much of a beating.
How much abuse can he take? Chad Brown applying a couple of hits to Chandler, and now on 4th and 16, Camarillo punting from the 5, turns over a nice spiral. Andre Hastings makes the grab at the 36 as he avoided Rodney Thomas, who was ready to put a hit on him, but got out of the way just in time.
I was a little surprised Andre fielded that punt. I thought he was going to call for the fair catch.
Just underway in the second quarter in Houston. The Steelers lead it 14-3. Jeff Fisher influenced by a number of coaches in his coaching career. Of course, it all began with Buddy Ryan, but they're more than just a buddy system in Fisher's resume. Played for John Robinson, a defensive back there at SC. Even coached under George Seifert, so there's some 49er influence as well, Tunch. First and 10 from the 41. And Tomczak gives it to Bam Morris. And Bam Morris with a good gain of 7 or 8. We'll take this timeout, send you to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, we'll take you to RFK Stadium in Washington. This is why people are excited about Michael Westbrook's prospects. Quick pass from Gus Frerotte. He travels 33 yards to help set up career field goal number 301 for Eddie Murray. Raiders and Redskins are tied at 3 in the second quarter, Dan.
Thank you, Greg. Pittsburgh leads at 14-3 here. Early moments of the second quarter. Second down and 5. Steelers at the 46. And once again, Bam Morris. Maybe a yard. Bam Morris led the team last week with 50 yards and also scored a couple of touchdowns.
Getting back to Coach Fisher, one of the things that he stressed is one of the guys that really had a big impact on him, and who you alluded to before, is George Seifert from the 49ers. He said he's one of the most organized coaches he has ever seen.
3rd and 3 as working out of the shotgun. Tomczak comes to the near side, and it is complete to Charles Johnson. The second-year man out of Colorado, Chris Dishman, ran him out of bounds. And for all the we've talked about Fisher being organized. Something was amiss there.
Well, they're slow getting out in coverage on that last one. But one of the things that Jeff was saying is that Seifert used to have his whole training camp mapped out, and that's exactly what Jeff did. From day one, every play of every practice, so the guys knew exactly what days they were off through the entire part of training camp, and that's the way he is.
Chris Dishman was also saying that instead of getting up at 4 and 5 a.m. in training camp, as Morris gets the carry, that Jeff Fisher was a much more reasonable hour, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So Dishman liked the new camp hours for Houston this year.
Well, the players really seem to like this guy. You know, one of the things that he has stressed is team chemistry, teaching these guys how to win. Be prepared to win. Everything you do on the practice field, in the meeting room, you know, you're only here for 8-9 hours. While you're here, get ready to play winning football.
He also says it's not necessarily a rebuilding year. They want to win now and definitely improve on the 2-14 mark. Tom Zach in the outstretched arms of Big Ben, who wasn't quite able to hold on. It looked like it would be a sparkling catch. But now a flag is being picked up, and a preliminary indication against the
Pass
Oilers.
interference, number 29, defense. First down.
Boy, and Darrell Lewis, for the second time this afternoon, called for the interference.
Well, what made that play work, Danny, right there, is that the Oilers showed blitz. They came up in the gaps. They were bringing everyone. Nice protection by the Steelers, picking up all the blitzers, which isolates Lewis one-on-one with Big Ben. He was no help from the safety. And almost a wonderful grab.
So another interference call against Lewis. Van Morris skirts out to the right side, close to the 22-yard line. As the Steelers are on the march again, Al Smith and Odie Harris make the stop, but Darrell Lewis, 2 big interference calls that led to the last touchdown by Pittsburgh.
Well, that's tough when that happens. So you start second-guessing yourself as a player then. Whenever you get flagged early, then you say, something wrong with my technique. And what that might do is take a little bit of the aggressiveness off Lewis.
Second down and 3 for the Steelers. They lead at 14-3, 10:31 left in the first half. The swing to Pegram, and he'll have nowhere to go. Tries to reverse his field, but is stopped cold at the 25-yard line. Darrell Lewis, along with Al Smith, led the Oilers surge.
Just a nice little toss sweep. With Steelers left guard Tom Newberry leading the way, number 66. Great pursuit by the Houston Oilers defense. They read it right away, and everybody, you've got 5-6 guys on that side of the field, all converging to the ball.
Eric Pegram, the second leading rusher last year for the Falcons. Had a 1,000-yard rushing season in '93 for Atlanta, but a big third down and 5 from the 25. As Tom Zach calls a timeout, doesn't like what he sees, originally sets up in the shotgun, and the play clock
Delay of the game. Offense.
was winding down, and
5-yard penalty. Third down.
Tom Zach didn't even get the timeout before the play clock ran out.
Well, there was a little confusion there on the offensive part. They were mixing up the defense. They showed blitz, then they pulled back out. But what Mike's doing is he's watching the defense. He didn't notice how far down the play clock had dwindled away, and he got flagged for too much time.
From that angle, it's right in front of Tom Zach, right through the uprights. So now instead of 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10 from the 30, and out of the shotgun, Tom Zach sets up, has a man, and it's first down for Yancey Thigpen. Clutch 3rd down and 10 conversion. Darrell Lewis on the coverage. They're picking on Darrell.
See, that's what I mean. Now he's not going to bite on some of the out patterns. And all Yancey does is run about a 9-10 yard out. Lewis is backing off a little bit. He's not pressing him as he was in the first 2 plays where he got flagged for interference, and he's just not as aggressive now. I'm telling you what, once you get flagged early in a game or twice in a game for doing something like if it's an offensive lineman holding or a defensive back interference, you start thinking about it. It takes away from your aggressiveness.
Lewis had the big interception last week, which sealed the win in Jacksonville. Bam Morris up the middle inside the 10.
Well, now you're seeing a Ron Earhart offense. Throw some quick passes, run the ball, throwing first down. Great blocking by the right side of that Steeler offensive line with Strelzik and Steele. Everyone's blocking down. Now, Strelzik's trying to get out, but he gets held by Ray Childress, defensive holding, although they never call that. And Bam does a real nice job of finding the soft spot and taking it upfield.
So second down and a long one. Pittsburgh can pick up the first down. Bam Morris will get it, and Moore's inside the 5. It'll be first and goal for Pittsburgh.
A great cutback by Bam, and the Steelers try to do the same thing that the Oilers do. Hat on hat, let the running back find the daylight. Now, originally this play is designed to go over the right tackle hole. Bam starts out that way and then cuts it all the way back behind the left tackle, John Jackson, who does a real nice job of sealing it up. Watch him here. Great blocking, great surge. Cuts it right up towards the goal line.
10 carries and 53 yards for Bam Morris. First and goal from the 2 for Pittsburgh. Morris straight ahead. He'll be short. Second down and goal. Anthony Cook, the rookie out of South Carolina State, along with Kenny Davidson, preventing Bam from getting in the end zone.
Kenny Davidson started his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers as defensive end. Came as a free agent to the Houston Oilers. Just coming off of arthroscopic surgery on his knee. Talked to me the other day. He says, I'm starting to feel good. He goes, I got to get in this game against my old buddies, man. I want to play the Steelers.
You were reuniting with a lot of former Steelers before the game today, Tuck. All of them wishing you good luck in your broadcast career. Second and goal. And Morris again will be short, and that'll bring up third and goal. Farrell and Montgomery preventing Morris from getting in.
Well, good, real nice defensive play. Good surge by the Oilers defensive line, shooting those gaps. Montgomery piles it up. Actually does a great job of pushing Tremonti Dawson back in the backfield, and that's where it starts. That penetration really killed that play.
So the ball is the nose of it about 6 inches from the goal line, and on third and goal, a big play for the Houston defense. Morris hurdling over. No indication. Al Smith came in there, and they stopped the Steelers short. And that'll bring up fourth and goal. And a decision for Bill Cowher and Ron Earhart.
No doubt about it. He's going for it. And this is a big play. This is where you put the Oilers away.
First and goal on the 2. It is inside the 1 now on fourth and goal. And the Oilers fans wake up. Morris. And he'll be stopped.
Great surge. Great defensive surge.
What a standing by the Houston defense. 4 shots, and Pittsburgh can't get in.
You want the safety you need at an affordable price that's genuine Chevrolet. By American Express. By Red Dog Beer. Bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog. And by True Value, the official hardware store of the NFL.
Back at the Astrodome, Jeff Fisher pleased with his defense, which held Pittsburgh on first and goal. Now the offense, though, has to set up just about on its own goal line. And Chandler throws complete to Gary Brown to give the Houston Oilers some breathing room. They're going to go back to that goal line stand and pick it up third and goal.
Like I said, great surge by the Oilers defensive line, and Al Smith, number 54, coming over the top.
And then fourth and goal, and Houston able to take over on downs.
Steelers run the same exact play in barrels, and Al Smith coming over the top, sticking it. And look at Jeff Fish, the old defensive coordinator, man, he is fired up. This is exactly what the Oilers need to turn this game around.
14 plays, they chewed up 8 minutes and came away with nothing. Brown on the carry. 8 minutes, 47 yards, no score, but even though Houston trails at 14-3, a big moral victory for the Oilers.
The thing now is, Dan, they got to do something about it. You know, that's a big play. There is nothing that gets a team as fired up, with the exception maybe of a big sack, as a goal line stand. I mean, they've got to take from that, and that's going to generate some electricity into the crowd and into the Oilers football team.
Good time to start right here on 3rd and 2. And picking up the first down, maybe he's short. Brown.
Well, nice job by Gary Brown. I'll tell you what, Chad Brown blitzing again, and Gary Brown just shakes him off. That shows you how much strength Gary Brown has.
Barely picked it up. He got the first down.
I mean, Chad Brown knifes through there, has a shot at Gary Brown in the backfield, but doesn't wrap him up, and you saw those legs are turning.
So Gary Brown, just 15 yards, 9 rushes, but a big first down pickup there. 3:48 left in the first half. And Brown, a workhorse.
Well, same play, Danny, and that's what he said. He said, I want to come into camp in good shape this year. I've been training all offseason, running. I want to be the go-to guy. I want my teammates to be able to have confidence in me that when we're down or we're in a situation we need to win, that I'm the man that can get it done.
Had that 1,002-yard rushing season in limited play. Remember in '93 when he really emerged, ended the season with 5 straight 100-yard games. Didn't get any at all in '94, but rushed for 100 last week. And from the 15, 2nd down and 7 for Chandler, and that ball is incomplete. Figures in on Haywood Jeffries. Let's send it to New York again, and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, at Foxborough, the Patriots intercepted Dan Marino on the very next play. Michael Stewart of the Dolphins returns the favor, intercepting Drew Bledsoe to stop a potential New England drive. As they approach halftime at Foxborough, it's a 10-3 Miami lead, Dan.
And approaching halftime here in Houston, Steelers with a 14-3 lead. Another 3rd down and 7 for Houston, 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions today. Chandler to throw, far side, complete. Travis Hanna. And Hanna will pick up the first down. Dion Figures, who got the start for Rod Woodson, was on the coverage, but not in time before Hanna's able to pick up the first down.
Well, it's the end of the first half here, Danny, and Dion is backing off a little bit. He's going to give him the underneath stuff, and he's going to make them earn every yard they get.
Dion Figures in his 3rd year out of Colorado, former 1st-round draft pick for Pittsburgh. 2:35 left. From the 26, quick drop by Chandler, incomplete. He wanted Derek Russell, and the crowd wanted an interference call. Chad Brown on the stop.
Well, you hear the defensive coaches for the Steelers just singing the praises of Chad Brown. He could rush the passer, he could play the run, and they say one of his biggest strengths is covering. He does a great job hugging up with the running backs coming out of the backfield.
And there is the defensive coordinator for the Steelers, Dick LeBeau, 3 seasons as the defensive back coach, former defensive coordinator with the Bengals, now with Bill Cowher in Pittsburgh, taking over, of course, from Dom Capers.
Well, you know, Dom did an outstanding job with this defense. He's the one that started this whole Blitzburg thing and came up with great blitz packages. Last year they were blitzing the opponents before they even came out of the tunnel. They say LeBeau likes to blitz even more than Dom Capers. And I'm telling you what, I didn't think that was possible. Then I thought about it. When Dick was the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, and we used to get ready for the Bengals.
Game clock to 2:28.
When we used to get ready for the Bengals, we'd always have to get ready for all these blitzes, all these different looks that he'd come up with, all these different defenses. So he is more aggressive than even Dom Capers was.
Dom Capers, of course, NFL head coaching job now with the Carolina Panthers. Capers used to be upstairs. Dick LeBeau likes to be on the field.
Well, he's a hands-on kind of guy. He wants to see the action from ground level so he can talk to his players, look them in the eye, and talk about what's going on out there. 2nd
down and 10 from the 26. Chandler going to loop it up. He's got a man wide open. open, and racing underneath is Travis Hanna, but he can't hang on.
Oh, you got to make that catch. I mean, that's a big play. That is a big, big play for the Oilers. Hanna's the kind of guy I know that the Oilers coaches really like. He says this guy's a star for the future, but he is wide open here. The nicely thrown ball. He has got to make the catch. Looked like there was a confusion in the secondary of the Steelers.
Darren Perry on the coverage of Hanna.
Well, actually, it looked like Alvoid Mage thought that he was getting help, number 28, and I don't know if it was a coverage mistake, whether Darren Perry should have been there sooner or whether Darren Perry wasn't given help and it was one-on-one with Alvoid, but they've got to get that corrected before at halftime.
Huge drop by Hanna. Now Chandler will take a sack, and how big does that play bode now as Brown and Green combine for the sack?
Well, you know, they've been talking about Chad Brown as a Pro Bowler, and he's starting off the season exactly like he is one. Last week against Detroit, he had a big ball game. Blitzing, doing the same thing. Same blitz package. Chad Brown, second sack of the day. Great pressure.
So now 4th down, and Travis Hanna with the drop of what could have been a touchdown. Instead, the following play, they get sacked. And Camarillo punting away to Andre Hastings at the 36. Back penalty, tries the right side. And brings it back out just across the 40-yard line with 1:49 left. And that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning at the Astrodome in Houston, where the Pittsburgh Steelers lead at 14-3, what could have been for Houston. Warning in Houston, Dan Hicks and Tunch Ilkin with you as the Steelers have a 14-3 lead, and they just dodged a bullet as Travis Hanna had dropped what could have been a touchdown pass for the Oilers.
Oh, he's got to be bumming right now, Dan. I mean, he's sitting there thinking, oh, if I would have caught that, we would have had a ball game here, 14-10. And, you know, he's replaying that over and over in his mind right now.
Tomczak from the shotgun, and the quick give to Peter, and a flag comes in. And that stops the clock with 1:42 left. Bob McElwee. And a holding call against the Steelers. And a reminder coming up, it's the Domino's.
Holding, number 73.
Domino's Pizza, NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gemble joined in the studios today by Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs. Scores and highlights coming your way, plus an interview with Troy Aikman as we get set for the big second half of the doubleheader today. Dallas taking on the Denver Broncos. How good were the Cowboys Monday night against the Giants, Touch?
They were scared, man. Absolutely scared. Maybe the Giants aren't much, and maybe they're not that, Cowboys aren't that good.
So with a penalty, 1st and 20 for Tomczak. And he's got his man. This is number 25, Fred McAfee. And McAfee has first down yardage close to midfield at the 49 before Chris Dishman runs him out of bounds. So McAfee in his 4th year out of Mississippi College hauls in the first down reception.
Great protect. Hey, you speak of Domino's Pizza. I mean, he could have ordered a pizza as much time as he had back here.
30 minutes or less. So the Steelers tried to perhaps add to their lead. Certainly not conservative, as 1:35 left in the first half. Tomczak working out of the shotgun, and again, this is McAfee. Right side, gain of about 6, and that'll be another first down for Pittsburgh. Tomur Barnes, second-year man out of North Texas, makes the stop. And Tomczak hurries him up to the line of scrimmage. 1:14 left. Pump fakes once, pump fakes twice, in trouble, and runs out of trouble. Sliding in at about the 41. Kenny Davidson, the former Steeler, converging on Tomczak.
Well, he had a lot of time there, too. He pulled the ball down a couple times, punted, and saw nobody open. He just took it up the field and ran.
We're seeing some experienced quarterback at work here in Tomczak as he flips it out to the left side to Thigpen. I mean, we mentioned this is a guy that has been around. 50th NFL start for Tomczak. Filled in for O'Donnell in a couple of key games last year, and that stops the clock with 42 seconds left. Right back after these messages from your local station. New coaches that Jeff Fisher has brought in on his Houston staff. There's one of them, the new defensive coordinator, Steve Sidwell, over with Houston after spending 9 years as the defensive coordinator for the Saints.
You know, Danny, when we talked to Coach Sidwell yesterday, one of the things he said is he's not really sure how good this defensive ball club is right now. And he said the one thing that you have to do in this league is you have to get heat on the quarterback with just 4 guys. And they haven't been able to do that today. Every time they've gotten pressure on Tomczak, it's been with a blitz. So far, he hasn't reached his goal.
This defense gave up just 152 total yards last week. That was the lowest in 78 games, but keep in mind, against an expansion team, Jacksonville Jaguars, they knew they'd get a much bigger test against Pittsburgh as it goes for the first down. And picking it up on the sneak was Tomczak.
Well, he had the spread formation and had that defense spread it out and just ran a sneak.
Under a half-minute left. Steelers with 1 timeout left. Tomczak across the middle, and it is complete to Hastings.
I'll tell you what.
Now the time is a factor. 18 seconds left. Tomczak trying to hurry him up. Chances are he'll just ground the ball to stop the clock. No, he'll go, and he'll look. Near side incomplete, and that stops the clock with 6 seconds left. Charles Johnson was the intended receiver.
That was the Danny Marino thing there, huh? He gave that fake spike and then looked right up and tried to get it out to Hastings. And that would almost work. That would have been part of
the thing. You almost come to expect these things. Last year, Dan Marino unveiling that against the Jets. Well, this is a field goal attempt for Norm Johnson on 3rd and 2. Spotted at the 32. It'll be a 42-yard attempt. And this kick is no doubt good. Strong leg by the veteran Norm Johnson in his 14th season. Had the 7th game-winning field goal of his career last week against the Lions, and he is added to the Steeler lead with just 2 seconds left in the first half. They've added a field goal in the second quarter to take a 17-3 lead over the Houston Oilers with just 2 ticks left in the first half. Here is Mike Tomczak, orchestrated a pretty good hurry-up offense for the Steelers on that last series, Touch.
Well, Tomczak's done an outstanding job showing his craftiness and the fact that he's been a winner in this league. He was a winner in Chicago, he was a winner in Green Bay, he was a winner in Cleveland. He's won a couple of big ball games. He won a couple of big ball games for the Steelers last year down the stretch when Neal was banged up. And that's the kind of guy he is. And you really need an experienced backup quarterback in this league to have a successful season.
Jeff Fisher likes his toughness, too. In fact, Fisher was a teammate of Mike Tomczak on the Chicago Bears.
Shows you how young Fisher is.
And how long Tomczak has been around. Norm Johnson with the onside kick of sorts, drilling it up the middle to prevent Mel Gray from perhaps burning them with a long kickoff return. Mike Tomczak filling in for the injured Neil O'Donnell has the Steelers up 17-3 at halftime. Now we're going to send you to our studios in New York with Greg Gumbel. As we take a look at the Coors Light halftime statistics, and no doubt about it, Tunch, it's been a dominating first half for Pittsburgh, and Houston just has not been able to get anything going, especially offensively.
Well, I think it's it's got to be a disappointment to Jerry Rome. He really wanted to come in here and be able to run the ball, move the chains, get in a rhythm offensively. He hasn't been able to do that. You've got to give a lot of credit to this Steelers defense. They play pressure defense. They've got blitzes going. Their 3 down men are causing a lot of havoc for that offensive line of the Oilers.
Pittsburgh really shocked this crowd. Andre Hastings returned a punt, 72 yards. Pittsburgh hadn't even handled the ball offensively after the first Houston series. They punted to Andre Hastings, and he streaked 72 yards to put Bill Cowher's club up 7-0.
You know, one thing we talked about at the very beginning of this ball game is guys are going to have to pick up the slack for where Rod is left off. And it's nice to know that when Rod Woodson goes down on the very first punt with your backup guy, Andre Hastings, he takes it for a 72-yard touchdown.
Like Tomczak filling in for Neil O'Donnell, and Deion Figures at the left corner position of Rod Woodson, who, by the way, is in Colorado getting another opinion on his injured knee. He will have surgery, and he will be out for the season, but we're underway in the second half. And a flag has been thrown way back at the 30 as Ernie Mills takes the Del Greco kick across the 20, fighting for yardage up to the 24, but flags on Houston's end of the field. And the call against Houston, preliminary indication by Bob McElway.
Well, that's not the way you want to start the second half, kicking the ball off and having one of your guys go off sides. Now, Bill Cowher motioning, take the penalty.
Top of the screen here, Tunch. Houston ahead of the ball.
Well, see, they're trying to get a running start on a kickoff. This Oiler team stresses sound, fundamental special teams and aggressive special teams, so they're just trying to get a head start. Bill Cowher obviously saying, hey, we want make them kick it again. Take them, send them 5 yards back, have them start at the 30.
Well, it appeared to be Tomer Barnes, 22, across. Too early for Houston, but we have not confirmed that. But they will indeed take the penalty and move the Oilers back in Del Greco. And it was Barnes, and he will sit this kickoff out. Well, he should be injured.
Yeah, I think he's shaken up. The trainer's talking to him over there. Maybe he got dinged in the head a little bit. That's usually the way they talk to you when you have a concussion. They look you right in the eye. They start asking you all these goofy questions about where you are, what your kids' names are, who's winning.
Did you always have the right answers?
Always.
So Del Greco's kickoff at the 25, and this is Eric Pegram, the young man, and he's got some good yardage across the 40, still on his feet, close to the 45. So Pegram with a good return for Pittsburgh, and the Steelers will start off a good field position. And the canine help from the sidelines with the
Well, special teams coach Bobby April's got to be thrilled with his return teams today. One thing that they really wanted to improve this year is they wanted to improve their return teams, and so far they have done an outstanding job both on the punt return and the kickoff return.
28-yard return by Pegram, and the Steelers first and 10 from the 45. They lead at 17-3, and the first carry to Van Morris, and not much room for Van. Glenn Montgomery and Anthony Cook on the stop up front for Houston. The numbers for Tomczak: 8 of 14, 79 yards, and a 1 touchdown toss to the rookie Mark Bruner out of Washington. He's been around with the Bears, Green Bay, Cleveland, third year with Pittsburgh. In fact, he started for all of those teams. And had a chance to talk with Mike last night as you look at Bruner, but Mike said, hey, I've been through this before. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. 2nd and 9. And he swings it out to Van Morris. Morris looking for first down yardage. He'll get it. Pushed out of bounds as a flag comes in at the Oiler 42. Al Smith came in on Morris. And a personal foul against Houston.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 23 defense. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
And the call on Blaine Bishop. And that is costly.
You know, the Steelers did a great job of setting the screen up. As an offensive lineman, you have to be kind of an actor. You know, you have to act like I'm blocking. Oh, sorry, I missed my guy. And then you got to get out on the screen. You want to suck the whole defensive up there, rushing the quarterback, and then you stuff the ball off. Great job. And you see at the end, Blaine Bishop coming in with a cheap shot on him. And you know what? The history of this rivalry, there's a lot of cheap shots. I'm surprised this is the third quarter and this is our first flag for a late hit.
Costly penalty, though, again for the Oilers. You mentioned the 2 defensive pass interference penalties on Darrell Lewis as Peter gets the ball up the middle. And a fumble, loose ball. Oilers indicating they have it. Steelers think they have it.
Now, Steelers ought to all be pointing. You know, this is a Astrodome. Sometimes, you know, when you're on the road, you got to help those officials out.
Pittsburgh will keep control as Pegram will see if he was down before the fumble.
Nice play from the backside by Mike Barrow. Great pursuit by Michael Barrow, coming down the line of scrimmage and getting a helmet on him.
So second down and 8 for the Steelers. Pegram getting a talking to by Cowher on the sidelines. Bam Morris right side. Close to the 22-yard line. Anthony Cook out of South Carolina State, the second-round pick for Houston on the stop. And Al Smith, number 54, the injured player, but Cook making his NFL debut last week, replacing Kenny Davidson, who was inactive with a knee, but we'll try and get a report on the injured Oiler Al Smith when we come back. Pittsburgh in control by 14. Back in Houston, Al Smith, the Oiler middle linebacker, being attended to.
You know, they can't afford to lose Al. I mean, he's the guy that hot wires this defense, been in the Pro Bowl a couple times, a real leader of this football team.
Well, Joe Bowden is coming to the linebacking core. Michael Barrow has moved into the middle linebacking spot for Houston. And on third down, the pitch is to Fred McAfee, and he's got first down yardage and the touchdown.
Just a
22 yards.
Just a quick toss to McAfee out of the nickel look. Oilers looked like they were ready to play pass, and just a nice pitch. And they like McAfee. They say he's another guy that can break. I tell you what, the running back situation with the Steelers right now, they are as thick at that position. They have as much depth in that position as any other position on this football team.
Fred McAfee in his 4th year out of Mississippi College stuns Jeff Fisher and the Oilers. And with Norm Johnson's PAT, the Pittsburgh lead is 24-3.
Well, Fred started his career with New Orleans. Then he was over in Arizona with Buddy Ryan. Buddy didn't care too much for him. The Steelers absolutely love him. Nice kick-out block by Leon Searcy.
A 22-yard touchdown rip for McAfee puts the Steelers up by 21. Fred McAfee's 22-yard touchdown run. The Steelers have opened it up 24-3. McAfee, an original 6th-round draft pick of the Saints back in '91. Coach mentioned his playing duties with the Cards and the Steelers last year in '94, but his rookie year was his most productive year. He had 494 yards for the Saints to lead that team back in '91, but hasn't done much at all on the ground since then.
Well, the coaches love him. The Steelers coaches absolutely love him, and we've seen why.
Mel Gray and Rodney Thomas back to receive the kickoff from Norm Johnson. And this will be Thomas, the rookie from the 11. Cuts left, across the 25, 30, 35, still on his feet across the 40. And nice return by Thomas. And this game just the start of a great day of football on NBC. Coming up next on most of these stations, game 2 of our doubleheader. Most of you will see Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys take on John Elway and the Denver Broncos. Others will see the Jaguars heading to Cincinnati to try and contain the Bengals. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Denver-Dallas game ought to be good. That game from Texas Stadium. Chris Chandler and the Oilers on their first offensive series of the second half. Good play action from Chandler. Has a little bit of time to throw this time, but Brown can't hang on.
Well, it looks like Gary heard some footsteps too. Chad Brown was closing fast on the 94, and Gary Brown looking to get upfield as quick as possible. Did not look the ball into his hands. That's what the coaches always tell you. When you're catching the ball, look the ball in your hands. Nice play fake. Freezes the Steelers defense for a moment. Throws it out there, and he was looking upfield.
Chad Brown, pretty active today, has all 3 sacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know you like that inside linebacking core touch of the Steelers. Kirkland and Brown talk about that after this play. Second down and 10. And Chandler this time, McNair is able to hold on. And McNair with the juggling act and brought down by Kirkland.
You know, it's funny, those guys are something. Everywhere they go in practice, they hang out together, and they are very underrated. On a defensive one, you've got Rod Woodson, Greg Lloyd. Chad Brown and Levon Kirkland tend to be overlooked. But these guys, they even got a nickname. People will start calling them the dynamic duo. The problem with that is that meant one of them had to be Robin, and they were fighting for Batman. So now they settled on the tag team.
The tag team facing the 3rd and 3 for Houston. Pump fake right for Chandler, goes across the middle of the field. Russell's got the first down at the Steeler 35. Darren Perry and Willie Williams back defensively for Pittsburgh.
And someone finally made a catch for the Oiler offense. And you know what? This is the only play that's worked for him today. That quick post down the seam. It's caught him right in between in the seam of the zone by the Steelers secondary. And nice play.
Eric Russell, in addition, over from the Denver Broncos after spending his first 4 years there. Just the 4th first down for Houston. But they're on the march in their first series of the second half, trailing 24-3. Chandler back to pass, and he's got his man, Haywood Jeffries. Alvoid Mays on the stop. But that arm touch may still be affecting Chandler somewhat.
Well, you know what? I've had a partial tear of the rotator cuff, and it hurts the whole. I mean, it's going to bother him the whole game. But you know, he's a gutty guy. He's a real leader. Plays hurt, plays injured, and he's just going to. They're going to have to yank him out of there.
Boy, Chandler, gutsy performance. Good pickup by Jeffries of 7 yards. 2nd down and 3 from the Steeler 28. Rodney Thomas, the rookie up the middle, picks up the first down. Thomas is 22 years old, 3rd-round draft pick by Houston out of Texas A&M, where he was the 4th all-time leading rusher.
The coaches really like Rodney Thomas. I was talking to the offensive coordinator, Jerry Rome, and I was talking to the PR guy, Dave Pearson, and they think this guy is a future star. Now, he's going to have trouble getting on the field as long as Gary Brown stays healthy and playing well, but look for him to make a big impact on this offense at some point.
First down for Houston, their best-looking drive of the game. And here's Thomas again. This time, maybe a couple of yards before the strong safety Cardell Lake came in to put the hit.
Well, Lake, he plays like a linebacker. You know, they say he's a strong safety that covers like a corner and tackles like a linebacker. Just the total package.
In fact, was a linebacker in college at UCLA. Now in his 7th year, coming off his very first Pro Bowl performance in '94. And the report on Al Smith, he sprained his left foot. He'll be going in for x-rays. 2nd down and 9 for the offense of the Oilers. Chandler across the middle, and he had Roderick Lewis fairly open. Myron Bell, the free safety on the coverage. I don't know if he didn't see him, but Lewis looked pretty wide open.
Chad Brown, ISO here, coming at your screen. Upfield, nice job by Brad. Just Hopkins moves him out, and it just buries him. You see the way he gave him a little extra on top of that to show him that he's the man.
Oilers trying to convert a 3rd down. They pick up just their 5th first out of the game. Chandler going down at the 6-yard line, and he's got Chris Sanders, the rookie out of Ohio State, with a great grab. Alvoid Mays put a hit on him. But Sanders has the Oilers down at the 6. 1st and goal.
Good protection. Miller puts it right on the money. Nice snowball. Great grab by Sanders. They say this guy also has great potential.
Just the 2nd NFL reception for Sanders. 3rd-round pick out of Ohio State. It's a key one here as Houston, with 7:52 left in the 3rd, tries to climb back into it. Chandler going for the end zone, and not inbounds with Chris Sanders, but Alvoid Mays was on the coverage, and Chris Chandler is asking the officials for pass interference.
Mays ISO one-on-one. That's it. Oh, I think they missed one. Alvoid Mays definitely got away with one there, boy.
Crowd thinks they missed it, but the former Redskin able to escape any penalty there, and that brings up 2nd down and goal from the 6. And that one never had a chance. Brenston Buckner had the wrap on Chandler. Sanders was the intended receiver, but Brenston never gave Chandler a chance as Chandler just takes another shot.
Well, defensive and offensive line on that one, I think he held on the ball a while. You can't expect, the Steelers defense and the blitzes, you've got to get rid of the ball quicker than that.
There is Brenston Buckner. Started 5 games for Gerald Williams last year. Now a starter in his 2nd year out of Clemson. Big 3rd down here for the Oilers. They need 6. Chandler holding steady in the pocket and will take another massive hit inside the 5, which will bring up 4th and goal. Lloyd was there, and now what do you do if you're Jeff Fisher?
Oh, you got to go for it. At this point in the game, down 24-3. You've got to come away with a touchdown here. I mean, a field goal, that's just like saying, we don't really think we could win. We just don't want it to look bad.
You saw the indication there for Fisher, no doubt about it. They need 3 yards.
Well, he's so well prepared. He's played all these different scenarios out in his head before he ever came to the stadium today. There was no indecision. He knew he was going for it right away.
Chandler wants to go to the air. He's not able to get the touchdown, but a flag has come in. Jeffries was the intended receiver. Deon Figures was on the coverage for Pittsburgh. And the call, holding.
Deon on the coverage. You can't really see where the holding is there.
And what a big call. Automatic 1st down for Houston, and the reaction from Fisher.
That's big. Big play. 1st and goal. They've got to come away with 6 on this one. They cannot come up empty on this side. If they do, it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
So they'll get 4 more shots. And the Oilers have to take advantage here. 4th and goal, they get a 2nd shot. And Gary Brown trying to fight his way into the end zone, down to the 1. Levon Kirkland there to meet him, and another flag in the Houston backfield.
No foul. The player report. No foul.
What he was talking about there is if you come in as an offensive lineman with an ineligible number like a 60, 50, or a 70, you have to report to the referee that you're at an eligible position, such as tight end, running back, or flanker, and they thought he failed to do so, but so the referee pointed out that he did in fact report, so they picked up the flag.
So the Oilers with another shot. There is Deon Figures. He was called for the holding penalty for Pittsburgh, which gave this Oilers drive new life. And on 2nd and goal, they go play action. Chandler releases, had a man. It was Roderick Lewis, incomplete. And Chandler gets hammered again. And there's another flag dropped at the 3-yard line.
Defensive left tackle, lined up in the neutral zone. Half the distance to the goal line, 2nd down.
Bill Cowher's telling him, you got to think out there. Don't lose your head. And you watch the replay. He's lined up in the neutral zone. That whole left side looks like it is. Watch Carnell Lake coming from the top of your screen on a blitz, and boom!
Wow.
Nails him.
Chandler takes a shot. There is an injured player on the field. We'll have a report when we come back.
Want to try
Here on the field just before we left, Kevin Green seems to have gathered himself. He has been nursing a broken hand, which caused him to miss the final 2 preseason games for the Steelers.
There was never any doubt he wasn't going to be ready for the first regular season game, though. He said, cast it up, tape it up, I'm ready to roll. It's going to take a lot for me to miss the opener.
Big play here for the Houston offense. 2nd down and goal, inches left. John Henry Mills in motion, and Brown is stopped short. Jumping in was Levon Kirkland. 3rd and goal for Jeff Fisher's club.
You know, the Steelers have a pretty fair goal line defense themselves here. You watch Kirkland on this. Levant is a stud of a man. He's 6'2", 265. He's built more like a nose tackle, but he's got the speed like a linebacker, and he can just flat out run. Nice play filling the whole second man through. Great job by the defensive line getting that surge to allow the linebackers to kind of clean up what's out there.
Saw a great Houston goal line stand in the first half, but now Pittsburgh trying to stage his own. And a timeout for the Oilers, who will talk it over with 5:39 left in the 3rd. The field for the Pittsburgh defense. Kevin Green, who went to his 2nd Pro Bowl last year, his 1st as a Steeler. Of course, spending the previous 8 years with the Rams, but Houston trying to get in on 3rd and less than a yard. They trail it 24-3. Chandler stumbles coming out of the backfield, and incomplete. More flags have been thrown in. Carnell Lake this time. Will Houston get another chance?
Well, Lake's saying that he has the right to go after the ball, but it sure didn't look like he got there real early.
We have 2 fouls against the defense. Defensive pass interference number 37, and a personal foul, roughing the passer on number 95.
So the penalties on Greg Lloyd, roughing the passer, pass interference on Carnell Lake. Let's try and detect here, Tunch, the pass interference.
Yeah, it just looked like he got there too early.
Now the late hit on Chandler. Yeah, I'd say that's a little late.
He didn't hit him real hard, though. He just kind of leaned into him, gave him a little bit of a catch. It wasn't like he decked him. But you know that new rule, man. I tell you what, you get near the quarterback, they're going to flag you. I wouldn't be surprised if sooner or later they go to the 3 Mississippi rule before you can even rush the quarterback.
Well, it seems like the Oilers have been down on this goal line for half the day. So with a 1st and goal, Chandler with a sneak, still no indication. And the Steelers have stopped him.
Boy, they're making him earn every inch of the way down here. This is going to be a real disappointment to the Oilers if they can't put it 1st and goal at the 1. You got to be able to put it in. I mean, if you can't expect to have a successful football team if you can't take it in 36 inches.
A long drive for Jeff Fisher's team. 5:05 left in the 3rd. 2nd and goal. Less than a yard again. This time Chandler will see if Brown can get in. No indication. The Steelers have stopped him again. Kirkland there.
It looked like Jerry Olszewski also got great penetration coming from your linebacker spot. Nice job by Kevin Green. Then Olszewski flies in there, kind of takes his legs out, and Kirkland just comes in and finishes up.
3rd and goal. This has been the drive that has lasted a lifetime. 5 Pittsburgh penalties for just 1 yard, believe it or not, on this series. This time, Chandler will go make his bootleg on the left side, and he'll walk it in. After all of that, Chandler walks it in for the score for Houston.
Well, when they scored, they did it well.
Well, they certainly had it set up, didn't they?
Sure.
I mean, it was
a great defensive goal line stand for the Steelers. Very aggressive, but when you're playing this kind of aggressive on the goal line, that means the boot is wide open, and Chandler just walks it in.
And for a change, Chris Chandler goes untouched.
Yeah, it's nice to see him on his feet at the end of that play, isn't it?
And who knows, as Al Del Greco comes in to attempt the extra point, 24-10. That would put the Oilers within 14, just a couple of touchdowns. Del Greco is good indeed, and with 4:07 left, and after a 16-play drive that chewed up 8 minutes, it results in Chris Chandler's 1-yard run. 24-10, Steelers ahead. Houston, Pittsburgh finds their lead only 14, 24-10, and there is Air McNair, Steve McNair, third player picked overall in the draft. First pick for the Houston Oilers out of Alcorn State. And a look at some of the really unbelievable numbers he put up at Alcorn State. Only player in NCAA history to gain 16,000+ yards in total offense.
And you know what, the coaching staff thinks that he's about a year away. Jeff Fisher was telling us that. But they are very pleased with his development, with his grasp of this offense. And a lot has to be said for Jerry Rome, because they have been constant companions since he came into training camp. And he's just been spoon-feeding them the offense, and they really like the way McNair is developing.
$28 million. They call him a $28 million man around in Houston. Some kind of contract he got.
Think he could live on that, Dan?
Yeah, I think so for a while. And Del Greco's kick taken by Ernie Mills at the 12. Across the 30. Picks up some more blocking and takes it across the 35-yard line. 3:56 left in the third. Let's send you to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dan, at RFK Stadium in Washington, 6-6 tie until this play. Jeff Hostetler of the Raiders, 1 yard to Andrew Glover. The extra point puts the Raiders on top of the Redskins, 13-6, late in the third. Dan Hicks-Tunchilkin, back to you.
And late in the third here, after Houston chewed up more than 8 minutes on that drive. I guess the third quarter will be remembered at least today as the Houston third quarter, but the Steelers with 3:56 to work with in the third stanza, and Tomczak simply throwing it away.
Wise decision. Nobody was open. It was designed as a quick hitter, 3-step drop, expecting a blitz, and what the initial part of the pattern was not open, and Mike, like the crafty veteran that he is, Mike Tomczak, number 18, throws the ball away.
9 of 16 for Tomczak. Second down and 10 from the 36. Pegram. And good defense by the Oilers. That was Blaine Bishop running Pegram out of bounds. Good pursuit by the entire Houston defense. And down by 14, it would be a good time for Jeff Fisher and his team to make a statement here if they're to get back in it.
Well, they've got to play aggressive here. They can't back off. They've got to bring some people. It's a third and long situation. A great time to blitz. Bishop is great coming off from stack behind Childress there. You got to go after here.
3rd and 11. Tomczak working out of the shotgun. And this time it's thrown away, or was it? That was Yancey Thigpen in the vicinity. Maybe Tomczak expected a square out. But bottom line, it's 4th down, and the Steelers will have to punt.
Well, they brought number 25, Torrey Hunter, off the corner late. Got some pressure on Tomczak and made him throw the ball up.
So Ron Stark at his 14th year after 13 years with the Colts. He's the new Steeler punter, and Mel Gray, also a new arrival to Houston. And it'd be a good time for Gray to flash his expertise. He'll get a chance from the 22. Cuts back up to the 30, and Belgrade up to the 29-yard line. Now the tradition of Notre Dame football returns to NBC Sports next Saturday. Right here on NBC. Saw the highlights of that game. Purdue had a shot to beat Notre Dame.
Could be a long year in South Bend, I think.
Drop pass by Purdue, but Houston tried to stay in this one, trailing 14. And Chandler setting up the Houston offense at the 36. First and 10. Todd McNair, and McNair with first down yardage as Houston's on the move. Chandler still holding that arm. 15-yard pickup from Chandler to McNair.
Todd McNair here just circling out of the backfield. Good protection by the Oiler offensive line. That's the way you want to start the drive.
Chandler, numbers 10 of 16, 122 yards. At midfield, Houston with another first down. And on the reverse, this is Chris Sanders, and Pittsburgh smelled it early. Kevin Green in the backfield, as he has been so often in his 11-year career.
Well, great job by Kevin Green. He stayed at home. You know, defense, outside linebacker like that makes so many plays, pursuing real hard down the line of scrimmage trying to make a play. But this time he just waits, and there he is.
And Touch, I know you have some thoughts on the hairstyle of Kevin Green.
Well, you know, when you get to be 11, 12 years in this league, sometimes you do goofy things. My old roommate, Craig Wolfley, grew a tail, got an earring. It's kind of like a midlife crisis.
NFL style. Second down and 16 now for Chandler. Flags flying from everywhere as a diving catch is made by Sanders. We'll mark it at the 21-yard line of Steelers, but we still have a couple of penalty flags to check out. What a catch by Sanders, whether it
Offside, right defensive end.
It'll go.
Penalty is declined, first down.
35-yard pickup by the rookie out of Ohio State.
Great veteran play by Chandler. A lot of times after flags like that, guys stop almost just for a split second. The quarterback, a smart quarterback in this league, still lets it fly. You go for all the marbles because you know you got at least 5 yards in your favor on the flag. And it looked like Alvoy Mays might have just froze ever so slightly, just enough to get Sanders open.
Minute 20 left in the third. Houston looking impressive. Two series here in the third quarter. Chandler to Brown. Brown is inside the 20, twisting, spinning to the Steeler 18.
You know what? Chandler's he started out this game in the first half. He looked a little gun-shy after all the shots he took. All of a sudden now he's got that kind of gunslinger swagger back. He's licking his fingertips. He's walking in with confidence. He has taken control of the offense, and he's saying, hey, I'm the leader of this offense. Let's get this thing going.
Chandler, a long line of Houston quarterbacks that have been beat up lately. He's the fourth starter in 18 games to start for Houston, but the Oilers on second down and 7 from the Steeler 18, threatening to score again. And this time Chandler has a lot of time. Now he'll be flushed out of the pocket, rolling left, and just throwing the ball up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Myron Bell picks off Chris Chandler with the Oilers on the march.
You know, right when he was on a roll there, too. You know, he's making smart decisions. He was moving the chains, and he got a little too smart. I think he might have outsmarted himself a little bit and just threw it right into coverage. Throw it across his body, that's the one thing they tell you never to do. When you're rolling to your left as a right-handed quarterback, you've got to stop, plant your foot, and then throw. Myron Bell, nice interception. Myron's known more for his hitting than for his intercepting prowess, but great job, right place at the right time, and that's a killer for the Oilers.
The very first turnover of the game, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial time for Houston. As Bam Morris gets the carry, very first turnover of the game coming at the final seconds of the third quarter when Houston really looked like it was going to get back into it. Still trailing by just 14, but That interception hurts. Myron Bell with a key interception for Pittsburgh as the Steelers lead at 24-10. Right back after these messages from your local station. Pittsburgh on top 24-10 after the Oilers owned the third quarter. They were only able to produce 7 points and still trailed by a couple of touchdowns as the Steelers set up at the 16-yard line. Tomczak losing for Pegram. A nice cut back to the left for Pegram and up the field, and he picks up first down yardage. Good run by Pegram after the catch. Barrow makes the stop.
Just a quick out to Eric Pegram. And you know, any time that guy's got the ball in his hands, he's dangerous. And that's what they love about him. Nice pursuit on the Oiler offense, but big first down.
It's been a while since the Steelers have had that quick, real threat in the backfield.
Yeah, not since Walter Abercrombie.
Now you're going to start throwing out those names, aren't you, Touch? First and 10 for the Steelers from the 29. And Peter gets it again. Low at the line of scrimmage, but running for more first down yardage. He's close.
Great cut. See, that's what that kind of speed will do for you. The play was a sprint draw designed to go to the left. And normally what happens, you get a great upfield pursuit from the outside linebacker and the defensive end, but they don't fight on it. And they're all just waiting right here, and he takes it all the way back around the right end and just outruns everybody. Great blocking on the back side of the Steeler offensive line. Right tackle, tight end.
Pegram so close to the first down. In fact, they'll come out with a chance.
You know, they really like this combination of Bam and Pegram. You know, you hammer at them with Bam and make those guys come up and tackle and put a hurting on them as the game progresses. The defensive line, the linebackers start getting a little bit tired from getting hammered by a big running back like Bam Morris. Then once you get on a roll, now you're in the fourth quarter, they're worn down. You bring Pegram in, who's got that breakaway speed and ideal situation.
Pegram getting most of the work here in the second half, as Bam Morris has rested some. They get the first down, and Pegram again left side, inside the 40, across the 40, and we'll get another scoring date from Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Dan, at RFK Stadium in Washington, Jeff Hostetler having a heck of a day throwing the football. This is the second touchdown pass of the day, 9 yards to Derek Fenner. Early in the fourth quarter, the Raiders lead the Redskins now 20-6. Let's go back to Dan and Tunch.
All right, Greg, 24-10 Pittsburgh, 13 minutes left in the game. Houston has to come up with a defensive stop here of Pittsburgh to get back into it. And it'll be Pegram again. And he's across the 45. Eddie Robinson, the linebacker on the stop for Houston. We mentioned how dominating Houston had been in the third quarter, but only coming up with 7 points. Look, at the time of possession, wow, 11 minutes to just over 4 for the Steelers.
Well, you've got to come away with points. I mean, that's great. That's a great statistic. But if you're not getting points on the scoreboard, it doesn't do you any good.
113 total yards for Jeff Fisher's club as well, to Pittsburgh's 40, but as the Steelers with the lead on a big third down for the Steelers, and they'll pick it up. And it's Andre Hastings, who earlier in the game had a punt return for 72 yards. Hauls this in for first down yardage.
Nice job by Hastings. Hooks it up in the soft spot in the zone. Nice throw by Tomczak.
Steelers went over the Lions in the season opener last week. Was their first season opening win since '92. And trying to go 2-0, and I know that they want to get this one because the schedule is very tough the next couple of games. And Pegram loses the football, and the Oilers have it. Ray Childress comes up with a loose ball. I believe it was stripped by Bowden, and a big turnover just the second of the game.
coming off the right of your screen. Great strip. Great strip. That's the way they teach you how to tackle. Tackle the ball. Childress hustling.
So the Oilers with a new life with 11:35 left.
Everybody figures that
It's smart money. By Compaq Computer Corporation. And by the Lennox Complete Heat System. Home heating plus virtually unlimited hot water from the company you trust.
The Steeler 45 after the fumble by Pegram. And with 11:35 left, Ray Childress makes the recovery for Houston. And the Oilers down by 14. Pretty much have to take it in on this series, but Chandler will go down at the 45. Greg Lloyd with a sack. But as we go back to the previous play, the fumble by Pegram shows here, Touch, that he really probably should have just fallen on it.
Yeah, you know, Pegram's the guy. He's trying to make something happen, trying to field it off the short hop. And the best thing he would have done is just to fall on it. And it looks exactly like on your screen right there. Neil is telling him, hey, man, Neil O'Donnell, you just telling Pegram, you got to just fall on that ball, man. Don't try to make something happen. We're winning. We're in a great situation. Just get the ball.
Well, Bob McElwee is in a powwow with the rest of the officials.
5 yards, automatic first down.
Well, a break for Houston. The illegal contact called on guess who? Figures.
Well, that nullifies a sack and a big play defensively for the Steelers by Buckner, number 96.
So just when it looked like Houston would be backed up at the 45, they're at the 40 with a first down. 11:20 left. Quick drop by Chandler, complete to Haywood Jeffries, and Jeffries close to another first down at the Steeler 32, and another wince of pain by Chandler. This has been a painful performance by Chandler. It is the left arm, not the throwing arm, but obviously big discomfort.
Well, he's in a lot of pain right there. But hey, I'm telling you what, he's a fighter. He's hanging in there, and he wants to get the job done. He wants to bring him back into this ballgame.
Second down and 2. And on the ground is Thomas. Thomas breaking a tackle, following his way to the 20-yard line. And another first down for Houston. Darren Perry makes the stop on Thomas.
Steeler defense here in a nickel package. They're expecting Houston to throw. Great coming off the ball. Bruce Matthews, great block, and Thomas finds the hole. Nice little flip at the end. I'll give him a 9.5 on that one.
3 carries for 17 yards for the rookie at a Texas A&M.
Pittsburgh.
Now the Steelers with a timeout. And when we come back, Houston will have first and 10 from the Steeler 20, trailing by 14. The crowd here at the Astrodome somewhat listless, Tunch, as the Oilers can get right back in it.
I can't believe it, Danny. I mean, this could be a ball game. Very important drive for the Oilers. They've got to come away with a touchdown here, and you think that the game is already over by the way the fans are reacting.
Jeff Fisher trying to go 2-0 to start on his first full season. But the Oilers will have to come back to do it, down 24-10. First half, second half total yard story. It's been all Houston in the third quarter after it was all Steelers in the first half. The game has turned around. Chandler's taken some big hits. Is in pain on virtually every exchange. Falls back, quick drive back, Rodney Thomas. Thomas picks up a few yards. It'll be second down. Send you back to Greg Gumbel for another scoring update.
All right, Dan, at Foxborough for the second time today, a New England drive has been blunted by an interception. Brian Cox of the Dolphins picks off the tipped pass. Just over 7 minutes to play, now about 6 minutes to play at Foxborough, and the Dolphins lead New England 17-3, Dan.
Thank you, Greg. 24-10, Steelers with a lead. Under 10 minutes left, second down and 7. Ball at the Steelers, 17. Chandler going for the end zone and unable to come up with a catch is number 86, Derek Russell. Willie Williams followed Russell into the end zone.
Nice coverage by Williams with his stride for stride, using his outside arm nicely, just kind of hold him off. Goes up and tips the ball. Nice play.
Williams, 6th-round draft pick in '93 out of Western Carolina. And now the Oilers faced with a big third down, 3rd and 7. From the back, the ball is loose, picked up by a Steeler. The ball back at the 39, and the Steelers will have it. Ray Seals came up with it, and Kevin Green put the hit on Chandler.
Well, it's a great pass rush, upfield rush by Kevin Green. Green gets the corner, gets that right-hand rip in, and he just keeps leaning and reaches that ball. As Chandler's throwing it, fumble.
Great play by Kevin Green. The Steelers take over and thwart the Oilers. Been told that Kevin Green just picked up his 100th NFL career sack. Upon first look, it appears it's just a strip, that coming from the Steelers PR department. But time to take another look. What do you think?
Well, it looks like he's got him on the ground. It's a sack. At first we were wondering, it looked like he just stripped the ball, but not only did he strip the ball, but he also tackled him, got his 100th career sack. What a milestone.
And joins an illustrious list. White, Jackson, Smith, and Green, the only ones still active on that page. So the century mark in the sack category for Kevin Green. 33 years old in his 11th year in the NFL, and this is Van Morris to start the Pittsburgh drive, and they'll just try to chew up some clock as we approach the 9-minute mark of the 4th quarter. Davis McGee makes the stop for Houston.
At this point in the game, Ron Earhart saying, look, we got to run the ball. There's 9 minutes left on the clock. We got to eat all that up, and let's just give it to the big guy and hunker down.
2 costly turnovers by Houston, thwarting great opportunities to get in this game. Myron Bell comes up with an interception. And you just saw the fumble recovery to stop Houston's latest drive. This is Charles Johnson calling in the Tom Zach pass. Chris Dishman on the coverage. So if Tom Zach and the Steelers are able to hold on to this victory, it'd be another mission accomplished for Tom Zach in relief of Neil O'Donnell, who again is out with a broken finger and isn't due back until at least a couple of weeks, he says. But Tom Zach not making the mistakes, threw 3 interceptions in the game last week, has the touchdown toss today, and Pittsburgh has been in control, albeit not the 3rd quarter. And Morris, not much at all on 1st down. Eddie Robinson along with Barrow on the stop for Houston. And there is Neil O'Donnell.
Neil O'Donnell's also chomping at the bit. He wants to get back in there. He's one of those guys that wants to play. The Oilers are in their pressure defense now. They're going to their 46. They need to create a turnover here. They have to blitz, do whatever it takes. They've got to get the ball back for their offense. Look for them to start tackling the ball, try to cause some fumbles here.
2nd down and 8. Tom Zach, and he'll just throw this away on the left side. Now let's take another look at Neil O'Donnell, who seems to be holding something to his left ear. Perhaps he's contributing into the offensive play calling here.
He's just listening. He wants to know what the situation is. He wants to know what they're radioing in to Mike as far as the play. Then what? He's got the earphones in his hand. What he's doing now is he's checking the defense to see what they're going to give Mike on this play and whether the play will work or whether he needs to audible out.
Yeah, we'll see what the play is on 3rd down and 8. Tomczak out of the shotgun. And flags thrown in, stop the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 73, offense.
Justin
5 yards, 3rd down.
Strelsick with the infraction along the offensive line. I know that bugs you, Tunch, being the old offensive lineman that you are.
I tell you, I don't know whose idea it was to mic officials. You know, now everybody in the world knows who the holding calls are. As an offensive lineman, the only time you get any recognition anyway is if you get called for holding or if you give up a sack. But what happened on that play was Justin was the spy guy. He checks out to the left side for the safety blitz, and he was trying to get out of there quick because he had to go all the way from right guard all the way to outside the left end. So he just got out of there a little too fast.
3rd and long, 13. Tomczak from the shotgun. Sets up the screen left side. Fred McAfee. And McAfee will perhaps get back to the original line of scrimmage. Darrell Lewis makes the stop. And Ron Stark in Pittsburgh will punt it away with 6:35 left and counting. So time running out on the Oilers as Bill Cowher's team was able to take some pretty good minutes off the clock with the 14-point lead. NFL's 5th leading career punter, Ron Stark. That's Mel Gray back at the 9. Well, the kickers have been around a long time for the Steelers. Norm Johnson and Ron Stark both in 14 years. And an excellent punt by Stark. Fair catch called by Mel Gray at the 13. 87 yards ahead for Chris Chandler and the Oilers. They trail it 24-10. Most of you will see that big game at Texas Stadium. Denver Broncos taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, Deion Sanders signing the record bonus in all of professional sports, $12 million. He joins the Cowboys team, Tunch, but what do you think the mood will be as the rest of the Cowboys look for a Super Bowl with the big superstar Deion a part of it now?
Well, I think they're a pretty fair football team without Deion, but this is going to put them over the top. They feel if they get Deion, they're going to the Super Bowl.
Houston trying to get something going in the late stages. Chandler finds Todd McNair, dropped quickly by Willie Williams, and the Oilers with 5:50 left don't have a lot of time. Hurry up mode for Chandler now.
5 yards.
2nd and 5, gain of 5. Chandler quickly to the air again, and this time he's got another man complete. Crossing the 27-yard line is Derek Russell. The Oilers dealing with 2 timeouts. The Steelers also with 2.
Quick out to Russell. Chandler putting the ball right on the money. Good protection.
Houston has had so many opportunities to get back into this game today. Approaching the 5-minute mark. Chandler back again. Is this one picked off? It certainly is. This is Carnell Lake. They'll go into the end zone for Pittsburgh. Intended for Derek Russell.
Well, bad decision on that one by Chandler. Threw into double coverage. He's hurt.
In more ways than one now.
I bet he wishes he could have that throw over again.
And that should seal it for the Steelers. 32-yard touchdown off the interception. 2nd of the game for Chandler.
Great job by Lake. Coming off that Pro Bowl year, one of the top safeties in the league. And he played that beautifully. As the safety on that one, he was just sitting back in his zone, watching the quarterback's eyes, stepped in, made a great play, and took it in for the touchdown.
And Norm Johnson makes it 31-10, Pittsburgh. Carnell Lake, the latest costly turnover produced by Houston, ups the lead to 21 points.
Great play by Lake, breaking on the ball. Actually deflected there by Willie Williams, it looked like, coming in. Blake was sitting in the middle zone there. They were in a 2 deep zone, which means the 2 safeties are in the middle, and they're just playing a nice zone, and they're watching Chandler's eyes. Chandler makes the throw. Williams breaks on a ball, and Blake, and with the interception, we see Chandler. I mean, he's hurt, but he can't even run. I mean, he can't even. See the way he's holding his arm? That means he can't even let his arm hang. That means it hurts so much that the only position that it feels good is with his elbow in at his side. So that means they got to, they need to get him out, get him in a sling, get some ice on that shoulder. I mean, look at the score here. The game is over. Put in Fuhrer and get the guy out of there so he can play down the road.
Carnell Lake off the first interception that went for a touchdown in his career. But you're right. It would appear that it is the wrist or lower arm that hurts at Chandler, but it is the shoulder, the bruised shoulder, which he suffered in the opener last week in Jacksonville. And it's just gotten worse as this game has progressed. Mel Gray and Rodney Thomas. And it'll be Thomas cutting back to the left side. And he's got it back up to the 24-yard line. 4:50 to go. Pittsburgh up 31-10. Donta Jones made the special teams tackle, and we will indeed see Will Fuhrer, who replaced Chandler in the second half last week for a short stint when Chandler had to leave the game. Was just 4 of 9 for 19 yards and the touchdown last week. He is in his 4th year out of Virginia Tech.
Well, nobody questions Chandler's courage. I mean, he is a tough guy. He's taken, the last 2 weeks, he's taken an unbelievable amount of shots, and they have taken its toll.
So Will Fuhrer gets some snaps in the closing moments of this contest, the home opener for Houston, which will result in a loss. And his first pass complete to Todd McNair. Fuhrer was the Chicago Bears' 4th-round draft pick back in '92. Spent last year with the Denver Broncos.
Well, they're running the hurry-up offense. They've got to make something happen here.
And the lefty throwing to the near sidelines, and a flag has come in as the intended receiver was Malcolm Sebring. And that is Alvoid Mays, who was running down the field with could be an interception, but we'll wait after McElwee sorts it out. Personal foul, and it is against the Steelers.
Personal foul, number 39, defense. Pass is incomplete. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And Darren Perry getting an earful from Cowher. Isn't that positive?
Well, that's the way Bill Cowher is. He doesn't attack you when you make a mistake. He attacks the situation. He's telling them, got to use your head. You can't miss that call, and then he's very encouraging. Actually, I think that's why do they call that? I guess maybe they're calling him on the fact that he went at the head. But you got to question that call.
Part of the interception. The ball goes back to Houston. First down after a 15-yard penalty.
Well, great break on the ball by number 39, Darren Perry, and he knocks that ball loose. Otherwise, it's a catch. Great job, and Alvoid Mays make the pickup. And then you see the flag, and I'm sorry, I don't agree with the official on that one. I think it's a nice hit, creates a turnover. They missed that one.
Cowher has some questions of his own.
Well, I think there's real confusion in the league among the officials right now on what's an illegal hit, a roughing pass, whether it's dealing with the quarterbacks or the wide receivers on big hits. They seem to be calling everything.
Still a 1st and 10 from the 46. And Fuhrer's pass incomplete. It was intended for McNair. And take another look from a different angle on this penalty.
Just a nice stick. Perry, number 39, drills him. That's clean. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, the NFL cracking down on using the top of the helmet and the rip up through the face mask, but that for quarterbacks taking those kind of shots. But here he called for the infraction. 2nd down and 10. Fuhrer back again. And the pass this time held on to by McNair. You know, we mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule, Tunch, and how tough it is. And with these injuries to Woodson and Neil O'Donnell, they are at Miami for the Monday Night Football game next. Then it's home to host the Minnesota Vikings and then the San Diego Chargers.
Well, I know they're looking forward to that Monday night matchup with Miami. Everybody's picked Miami.
Good pickup by McNair, who's inside the Steeler 30 down to the 28.
Nice throw by Fuhrer. On a crossing, McNair just crossing underneath the zone. Steelers hanging back a little bit on this nickel defense, on this 2-minute defense. Tough situation for a young quarterback to come in.
That time by McNair. It's down to the 21. McNair, of course, in his 2nd season with the Oilers after 5 with Kansas City.
McNair's shown a great ability to catch the ball coming out of the backfield. And they need that from him for offensive production. Fuhrer's pass down to the 7-yard line, and another flag has come in intended for Derek Russell. Willie Williams probably called for the infraction.
Pass interference, 27 defense, automatic first down.
How many of these pass interference calls have we seen today?
Well, Willie's going one-on-one with Derek Russell, and nice swim move to the inside, and as the ball's delivered, he's on his back, and that's interference. And you know Cowher isn't happy about all these interference calls.
Even though they come late in the game and Pittsburgh in command 31-10, but it'd be ironic if Houston was able to score. And that was pretty close coverage by Deion Figures on Chris Sanders. And another flag has come in, and Figures will get the call.
Pass interference, 21 defense, foul was in the end zone. Automatic first down on the 1-yard line.
You know, the first game without Rod at quarterback, it's Rod Woodson is out with a knee injury, and Deion Figures, number 21, has taken his place at corner. And he's a little rusty. You know, didn't get a full training camp, played a little in the last exhibition game, played a little bit more last week in the first game against Detroit. This is his first game, full-time action, and he's still got some rust on him.
And the penalty yards mounting up for Cowher, 1371 yards. Houston has the first down. Fuhrer will go down. Greg Lloyd in there first for the Steelers. The 4-time Pro Bowler, adding to his sack numbers. He's already 5th in his career for Pittsburgh.
Houston.
Well, Lloyd just blitzes between the center guard gap, and the Steelers really needed a big defensive play. This has been a horrible series, and you know, Cowher isn't very happy about this because it shows a real lack of concentration. That's one thing that he stresses. You guys have to be concentrated. You have to keep your head in the game. And these foolish flags, as Phil's saying, hey, you can't have these.
Well, we mentioned the tough schedule upcoming for Pittsburgh. At Miami for the Monday night game, and Minnesota, San Diego, Jacksonville to follow, and Houston, following up this, will host the Cleveland Browns next week, and then head to Riverfront, Jacksonville. The schedule certainly favoring Houston, as they'll be 1-1 after this one is through, but Pittsburgh will go to Joe Rowdy 2-0.
Well, hey, that's going to be a big match. All the experts, as I said before, are picking Miami to win the AFC, possibly the Super Bowl, and the Steelers are really looking forward to this matchup. It's a showdown that could be the AFC Championship game.
2nd and goal, Will Fuhrer in relief of Chris Chandler trying to get the Oilers on. This is number 20 into the touchdown, Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas with his first NFL touchdown. And Jeff Fisher says, let's go for 2. Why not? He's now 31-16, but the former Texas A&M rushing star. 6-yard run for his first NFL score.
Nice blocking by the Oiler right side. Number 73, Dave Williams. And number 77, Kevin Donnelly. Just a quick toss to Thomas, and he's following his block in. Nice cut. Nice block by Haywood Jeffries, man. Well, that's what, I tell you what, Haywood was telling us that with Les Steckel as the receiver coach, you've got to be able to block, man. He says this year our attitude is kill, kill, kill. No more just catching passes.
Well, at first, Fisher had indicated they'd go for 2, but now Al Del Greco will come on for the point after, which will make it 31-17. Stay tuned to the NFL on NBC. Been mentioning to you that most of you will be seeing the upcoming Denver Broncos and Dallas Cowboys game. And that's coming your way. Others will see Jacksonville take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Second half of our doubleheader. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Well, Jeff Fisher's team will drop to 1-1. And if you add up his losses last year, 1-6 career for him, as you see the Steelers defense. Bobby April, the special teams coach.
Well, Bobby's telling him right now, hey, no letdowns. Let's go. Somebody go out there and make a big hit. We can't lose our concentration here. Can't afford to let any more big plays happen. Let's go. Somebody make the block. Let's turn Barnesy loose.
And always the possibility of an onside kick at this stage. And the way Houston is lining up, it appears that'll be the case as try to make something happen. 2:42 left. Oilers trail at 31-17. And here come the Oilers trying to force a turnover here late. Good kick by Del Greco as the ball was poised in the air. And they had a shot at it.
I mean, that's what you want your kicker to do. Get it on that big hop and let your fast, athletic guys go up after the ball like a jump ball. And the Steelers play it the right way too. On the receiving team, what you want to do is if it's up for grabs like that, you want to bat the ball backwards and out of bounds.
Yancey Thigpen did a good job of batting the ball on this onside kick. Another look. Great job by Del Greco. Look at this hop up.
Look at Yancey. Great job, Yancey. Great job.
Thigpen at 6'1", able to get high enough to knock it out of bounds, and the Steelers trying to run more time off. 2:38 left. And Van Morris left side has some room inside the 30.
And you're seeing a tired Houston Oilers defense. Just all the running plays between Bam Morris, number 33, and Eric Seagram, number 20, has taken its toll on that Oiler defense.
Ray Childress, 5-time Pro Bowler, as we approach the 2-minute warning. Recorded his 75th and a half sack of his career last week. He's one of those ageless wonders of the National Football League, but on the losing end today as we hit the 2-minute warning in Houston. We're on its way to its second victory of this NFL season. They will open at 2-0, 31-17 leaders as we reach the 2-minute warning in Houston. And Bill Cowher and the Steelers reaching the AFC Championship game last year before losing to the San Diego Chargers. That Dennis Gibson backed out of the pass at the goal line of Neil O'Donnell's. Can they get there this year, Tunch, even without Rod Woodson and without O'Donnell for a couple of weeks at least?
Well, I think so, Dan. These guys have so much resolve right now. They are so hungry to get back there to the AFC Championship game because they feel they really lost a great opportunity to get in the Super Bowl, and they want to get there this year. And a lot of their younger guys have really stepped it up a notch, and that's where you look for to push them over the top to get back there.
Mike Tomczak remains the quarterback as Bam Morris gets the call. 1 Once again, a reminder coming up as soon as this game is over. Most of you will be seeing the Dallas Cowboys host the Denver Broncos. It is game 2 of our NFL on NBC doubleheader. It is coming up next.
Timeout called by the Oilers defense.
So much talk, Tooch, about the Dallas Cowboys. What about the Denver Broncos? This year?
Well, the Broncos look like a new ball club this year. They're running that West Coast offense, and my understanding is that it really suits John Elway. So they feel that they are a team that needs to be reckoned with in the AFC West, and only time will tell.
Mike Shanahan, of course, the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. John Elway, good history with him. 1:56 left. Steelers at the Oilers 28 in the pitch to Morris.
Quick toss to Bam Morris, number 33. Another Oiler down.
And that is number 56, Michael Barrow.
And they can't afford to lose him. After losing Al Smith, Michael Barrow is the guy that they had big plans for this year, great expectations. He's a very emotional guy, very fiery guy from the University of Miami. They were counting on him to make big plays this year.
Barrow down on the turf. The concerned Jeff Fisher has come out to meet him. There's been so many injuries on the turf lately, much talked about. Rod Woodson getting injured on artificial turf.
Well, the stuff is awful, really, Dan. I mean, they ought to burn it all and turn all the stadiums to grass. I'm not kidding. I mean, if you're out there, it's like, you're out there, it's like playing at somebody's living room, all right? And the stuff is so grabby that there is no give. And if you're trying to cut, or if you're just sometimes when you're running out there, if you don't pick your feet up, you get your toe caught on the rug, you fall flat on your face.
Well, there's a shot of this field. That is out in the middle of the field where second base is for the Houston Astros game. And I know that when they were trying to get this field in shape up to NFL standards, that's the part of the field they were working on and most concerned about the most. We'll see if we can detect the injury to Michael Barrow on the replay.
Looks like they were working. Hard to tell what happened there, but they're working on his knee. It landed on his shoulder, but they seem to be working on his knee.
Well, Barrow is up, and that is good news, putting some weight on the right leg. But throw Kajana Carter into that list of injuries as well. His third carry of his pro career came in preseason. He is out for the year for Cincinnati, the NFL's #1 pick.
I think if the league really wants to do something about the safety of the players, they really ought to look into this stuff. I mean, they've come up with all these rules about hitting the head, going after the quarterback, and whatnot. What they really need to do is look at the surfaces they're playing on, because not only it's just so grabby, and players are bigger and stronger and faster, and the track is too fast. And something's got to give. I mean, I don't know how many concussions I've seen in my career that have happened as a result, not of the hit, but of the head hitting the turf after you get tagged.
Not only has there been a controversy with the field here in Houston, the swirling controversy continues on whether the Oilers will remain in Houston, as owner Bud Adams continues to negotiate with Nashville. They've been in and out of court, the city and the team. As Morris takes the carry to the 22, there is Bud Adams. And to be honest, not a real popular figure in the city of Houston right now at all. There are even some who just would say, take the team. We're tired of it all. We're tired of the battles in court. The lease here at the Astrodome runs through 1997. Bud Adams has said he will stay here, but who knows?
Well, the fans even blame him for that game that was canceled. I've never heard that. In my entire career in the NFL, they don't cancel games. I mean, it's not like baseball where if there's a rain delay, you might wait. I was talking to Kevin Donnelly, number 77 for the Oilers, the solid offensive right guard, and he was telling me they go out there for pregame warm-up, and they go through their warm-up, and they've got 10 minutes to go back into the locker room and get prepared for the kickoff. And he's sitting there, and he goes, you know, it's getting longer. We should be getting ready to go out there. And then somebody comes in and says, well, there's something wrong with the field. They're checking it out to see if it's playable. And what do you mean they're checking it out to see if it's playable? I'm ready to play. Everybody's ready to go. All of a sudden, they're starting to get tightened up. They come in an hour and 10 minutes after kickoff, scheduled kickoff. They call the game. Take off your stuff. Go home.
That was, one word, a farce.
But hey, apparently the field was in such bad shape. There were potholes in it.
Well, here's Norm Johnson on to attempt a field goal for Pittsburgh with just 19 seconds left.
I know if I was ready to play football and they told me I had to go home, I'd be upset.
He's already connected earlier this game. And maybe Bill Cowher just wants to get his field goal kicker some work. Norm Johnson, the veteran, good from 40 yards. Tunch running it up, or is it just good to get the field goal kicker some work?
Well, you know, that I can't answer, Dan. I don't really agree with that myself. I would have just flopped on it and killed the clock. And of course, it would have been a change of possession anyway, so the clock would have stopped. But yeah, the Steelers stopped the clock to talk about it and called a timeout. I guess they want to get some work for Norm Johnson. I don't understand that. That's not like Bill. Usually he just wanted to get his guys out of there. So interesting.
So 42 and 40 field goals by Norm Johnson, and a long, long day for Chris Chandler, who has been hurting since really the get-go.
Now there's a battered warrior, Dan. I mean, he's a guy that's taking his lumps.
On the other hand, Mike Tomczak, successful in the fill-in job for O'Donnell. The numbers for T-Zak, 13 to 22, and the touchdown pass to that man right there, Bruner, the rookie out of Washington. And Bill Cowher likes Bruner, and we mentioned it earlier in the game. He could perhaps be starting not too long for Jonathan Hayes.
What they like about him is he's a bright guy. He really has an understanding of the offense, what everybody's trying to do. Center, guards, tackles, wide out, and even what the quarterback's doing. Real student of the game. He's really has come in prepared both physically and mentally.
And Norm Johnson taken by Mel Gray. And Mel Gray simply running out of bounds, stops the clock with 10 seconds left. So Jeff Fisher and the Oilers will regroup and get ready next week as the Browns come in to the Astrodome. Will Fuhr has stepped in for the injured Chris Chandler in the latter stages of this one. So it's been a story of lost opportunities for the Oilers.
Well, the Oilers have wasted just too many of them, and you can't play winning.
Yeah, this was not a bad football team. Not to say that they won't have a good season under Jeff Fisher, who certainly wants to improve on the 2-14 season last year, but just a couple of years ago, this was a playoff team. The exit of Warren Moon and the change in the philosophy of the run and shoot. And Houston will try to battle back from all year long. The final score, Pittsburgh wins it 34-17. Cowher and the Steelers are 2-0. For Tunch Ilkin, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Houston. Stay tuned. Game 2 of the doubleheader is next. Most of you will see the Cowboys and the Broncos.